from the frigid armpit of America, this is the Drunken Peasants Podcast with Ben and TJ, bringing you opinions of the news from an altered perspective.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And now, here are your hosts, Ben and TJ.
Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
Yeah, boy.
I'm Ben.
Fucking
and this time,
drunken
I'm
peasants
Ben.
up in the motherfucking his ass. Scotty is not here today. He's in Canada. He decided to hunt. Whoa.
He was hunting?
Shit. The show's on my laptop too.
Yeah.
Fuck you, laptop.
Gotta mute that shit.
Yeah.
So Scotty was hunting?
Yeah, he's hunting and gonna kill TJ.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
No, he's not.
Yeah, that's not true.
Wink.
It's not true. I will not endorse that statement.
Yeah. It's not true.
No, it's not.
It's not true. Are we moving the... Okay, yes, we are. Never mind.
Yeah.
Audio levels are good.
Yeah.
Testing.
Testes.
1, 2, 3.
Testes, 1, 2, 3.
Touch my testes. 1, 2, 3.
Fuck you, Bill Maher.
Fuck you, Bill. You couldn't wait. You jumped the gun on it.
Fuck you.
I spent some time watching Ben get some audio clips of Opie and Anthony, and also me responding to Opie and Anthony.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Oh, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck your mother!
Fuck you, Bill Maher.
I like
Go
this
fuck
one.
yourself. That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him.
It's a shame that he said that to Bill Maher just over some gun debate shit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if he'd said it to the right opponent, it would have been powerful. It'd have had some balls to it.
That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him.
Yes.
Never more eloquently put.
Isn't it I fucking hate him?
Go fuck yourself. That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him.
Yes.
Yeah. That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him.
Go fuck yourself. That cunt is a fucking douchebag. He didn't say fucking douchebag. That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him.
Yeah, when you said fucking douchebag, you were like taking your own liberty with it. You're kind
Yeah.
of like freestyling.
Freestyle. Remix. That cunt is a douchebag, a douchebag, a douchebag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate
People-
him.
You fucking warrant, don't ever go over my fucking head again.
Who
You
would-
motherfucker, you.
Who curses more entertainingly, Opie or Joe Pesci? I think
That's-
it's got to be Joe Pesci, right?
Yeah, Joe. Well, I mean, they both get paid the big bucks to do it, but I think Joe Pesci probably gets paid more.
Yeah, but Joe Pesci's not as active though,
No, of course not.
because he's old.
Yeah, definitely.
He's an old fuck. He's not trying to kidnap Macaulay Culkin or whatever the premise was anymore.
Isn't he like 5 feet tall or something too? I mean,
Yeah, but I wouldn't fuck with him even as
No.
a 6 foot fucking 7
He's like
motherfucker because he's crazy. He's punched people for like trying to take his picture.
Was he
and
like
shit.
70 years old or something?
Who knows?
Yeah,
He's timeless. It doesn't matter.
he's timeless.
Pesci is timeless. Timeless Pesci.
So yeah, you. I guess we'll talk about this next.
Such a committed show.
Yeah.
We're just like that's what separates from the other shows. We're just like, I guess we'll fucking just talk.
Yeah,
None of this is happening.
this little kid wanted to wear a My Little Pony backpack to school.
And he's a boy, so
Yeah,
of course he must be subjected to, the conformity enforcers.
Yeah. Well, that show has an interesting following already. So
My Little Pony. I tried to watch an episode just 'cause people were like, dude, actually, if you actually give it a fucking chance, bro. And then I watched it. And it was disgusting, and I hated it. But, I don't fault others for...
yeah, and plus he's
For
a
their
little kid,
taste.
so whatever.
Yeah.
But so he was getting.
Even if you're like 50 years old and whatever, and you like the little ponies, I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So
I don't give a shit.
Here's a new story about the kids' experience wearing the My
I
Little
will
Pony
actually
backpack.
watch episodes of Pawn Stars, so I have no room to criticize anyone.
That show is so stupid. I don't even want to get into that. Well, I pretty much hate most reality TV.
I hate pretty much all TV in general.
Yeah?
But you know what? You have to pick something that you can at least. You're like you have to pick something of the horrible shit that's like, okay, well, I'll at least tolerate this, because that way, when I'm sick of everything I can possibly do on the internet or anywhere else, and I just feel like sitting down and watching TV, because hey, I fucking still pay for TV for some godforsaken fucking reason.
I think people are just programmed to do that these days.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you got to find something on.
Yeah.
And to me, that was just like, hey, I can tolerate this slightly more than this other shit. Mostly because I just like to hear like the values of fucking random items. It's probably the same reason I'll sit there and watch like Antique Roadshow or something.
I like Antique Roadshow because there's like history. There's like a historical element. To it.
But that's there in Pawn Stars too. It's just buried under like bad sitcom. Like that's the real difference between reality TV and like, you know, like the old sitcoms is that the old sitcoms actually had better writers, because I mean there's the shit's still being written.
I would say Antiques Roadshow is more educational, and that's why it's
that's
on PBS.
not but that's not like a schlocky reality show like fucking Pawn Stars.
It's funny that we call them reality shows because they're so fucking fake.
Yeah, I mean, like
rehearsed.
there's the reality in a reality like, remember when I don't know, people probably don't know this, but there was a friend of mine on YouTube that was Hard Case or Fake Sagan or whatever else. Anyway, he's fucking crazy and a douchebag. But he was on a reality show, and they had him on there as like, they gave him some fake name.
I saw that.
They gave him like he had a satanic wedding, even though he's a fucking atheist.
Yeah, I saw that. He was like, "Yes, I'd like to dedicate this wedding to Satan."
He had some stupid name like Rafe McQuaid or some shit. So that's how much reality you're getting when you watch that.
Yeah, so...
Anyway, we have digressed horribly from the story. We haven't even started yet, though, so it's okay.
Okay, so here we go.
Wait, let's set it up again.
Okay,
he's a boy, and he fucking has a My Little Pony backpack, and it's horrible. All right.
Yeah, this is a story where they punish the victim.
Yes, as is typical of...
I used to wonder what friendship could be.
It's a decades-old kids show where pony characters emphasize the bonds of friendship.
If you watch the show, it's really not that girly.
It's become anything but friendship for 9-year-old Grayson Bruce.
They're taking it a little too far with, punching me.
Just a little too far with punching
This
him.
kid is like, you can, like, this kid's fucking hardcore. Like, he goes there with his pony backpack and they punch him. He's just like, that's a little too far, guys.
You guys are taking it a little too far with punching me.
The ironic thing is they're all beating him up for doing something girly when he's probably more of a badass than any one of them. So that's what amuses me.
Yeah.
And pushing me down, calling me horrible names.
Yeah, he doesn't mention what the names are, but I can pretty much imagine what they're calling them.
I think it begins with an F and ends with an agate.
Oh yeah,
probably. If my school days or if any,
yeah.
if school has not changed that much since I was there, then I would bet, pretty much every fucking cent I have or ever will have that it was faggot.
Yeah, probably.
Stuff that really shouldn't happen.
Grayson picked this backpack.
This is Rainbow Dash.
Which he says has intensified the attacks against him. He understands why some kids call him names.
Most of the characters in the show are girls. And the fact that people really put it towards girls. Most of the toys are girly. Surprisingly, I found stuff like this.
Grayson has developed a following on Facebook after a friend made a support page for him. Grayson stands by his favorite cartoon and the message he says it sends.
My Little Pony looked a lot different when I was a kid. It looked a lot more
80s.
Yeah, it wasn't. This is drawn way different than the My Little Pony I remember. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that if a kid back when I was a kid liked the My Little Pony back then, they probably
would have laughed.
The
reaction would be the same.
Probably. Yeah.
But I'm hoping that that's changing.
Do you think the Care Bears were like geared towards girls, or do you think it was more like a neutral show?
It was more neutral, but I didn't know too many boys that were all that into the fucking Care Bears. So
yeah, I watched it a few times, and I saw the movie in the '80s, the Care Bear movie, but I did not like My Little Pony. I think that was I did not enjoy My Little Pony. So, but yeah, I mean, people like what
whatever,
they like.
Ben. Brony motherfucker. Ben's wearing a My Little Pony shirt right now. He's just being ironic.
Yeah? Yeah. Fuck.
His mother says,
What's
why
your
not?
favorite pony?
It's promoting friendship. There's no bad words. There's no violence.
That doesn't sound like a very good
It's hard to find that
show.
even in cartoons now.
I'm just saying.
But Noreen Bruce says Thursday the school asked him to leave the pack at home because it had become a distraction and was a trigger for bullying.
Saying a lunchbox
yeah.
is a trigger.
Wow. Yeah, so that's the point of the story where you're just like, what?
They're like, we think you're gay too, kid. Leave your backpack at home.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, so this backpack is causing you to be bullied. We think it's best that you just don't bring it around here. Because, you know, here at whatever the name of this shitty school is, we let the bullies decide the policy.
Yeah, yeah. We'll back the bullies at this school. Good job.
It's like, the bullies are saying your backpack is faggy? Well, why do you keep coming in with such a faggy backpack then? Come on!
Yeah.
Yeah, the school is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but I don't think that is going to end up being the way this story ultimately plays out.
Hopefully not.
But this is kind of the thing you never really hear an update on. Like you don't hear like the latest breaking news about the boy with the My Little Pony backpack.
That's because the outrage makes a better news story than like it being resolved, if it does get resolved.
Resolutions are not as fascinating as news stories.
Yeah.
Everything turned out fine. It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Take me to the next disaster.
For bullying, you might as well say a short skirt is a trigger for rape. It's flawed logic. It doesn't even make any sense.
Noreen Bruce wants punishment for the students involved. Buncombe County Schools declined an interview but sent us this statement. An initial step was taken to immediately address a situation that had created a disruption in the classroom. Buncombe County Schools takes bullying very seriously, and we will continue to take steps to resolve this issue.
Yeah. So, classic story. Victim is the one punished in the end.
Well, let's hope it's not actually the end.
Yeah,
but we don't know.
Well, it'll probably be, like we said, that'll probably be the last.
We'll never know. We'll never know what the resolution is.
Yeah, yeah. So the next thing that we have here is there's a candy store owned by a rather large man, and he decided for Fat Tuesday to give away free fudge to everyone that weighed in over 300 pounds.
Which is cool for me because, you know, I weigh over 300 pounds, so free fudge.
Yeah.
I thought it was just, when you told me about the story originally, I thought that was just the policy of the store. I didn't know it was like a special promotion. I think it should be the policy. You know, if you're over 300 pounds, every time you come in, you should get some free fudge. Because, you know, and that'll help ensure that you stay over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Which, if you're a candy store, you know, who do you have to be the most nice to? Fat people. Come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of businesses where you would do that, especially in the U.S., like all-you-can-eat buffets, like a country kitchen buffet. Country kitchen buffet. Yeah.
All right.
From supersized cotton candy
there you go.
to rich old-fashioned favorites.
Howdy.
Charlie Dill admits his store is the definition of indulgence.
We want to do our business like fat people would run a candy store.
All of their candy, including
awesome.
their 50 flavors of saltwater taffy, they charge by the pound.
Was that reporter's last name Petite?
I don't know. I can't read it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be ironic.
What is it?
It's spelled Pettit.
That sounds like petite.
Yeah, almost.
It's not quite the same spelling, but maybe it's the same pronunciation.
Yeah, very ironic.
And isn't it ironic?
Charged by the pound.
Don't you think?
But tomorrow, they're weighing a lot more than just candy.
We thought a fun way of celebrating Fat Tuesday would be to offer fudge for anybody over 300 pounds. Come in and get a free piece of fudge.
I have a question. If you were like 298 pounds and you went in there, you know, would they say like, sorry, too skinny?
I would say if you're 600 pounds, they should give you twice as much.
Yeah, that's another thing, you know. What if a 600-pound person, I mean, does he get two? You know, I mean, there's a lot of questions about this story.
Yeah.
We're really looking at this from all the angles, you know?
Yeah.
That's what people pay us for. So we can delve right in and figure, like, what angle is the mainstream media not telling you about this important breaking event?
Yeah.
That's us.
This earth-shaking news story.
Hey, it might be earth-shaking if enough fat people attend. I mean...
Unapologetic for being large himself.
You know, I get compared to Dom DeLuise all the time.
Advertised the Fat Tuesday special on the store's Facebook page.
I just heard that reference go over our audience's heads.
What, Dom DeLuise?
Yeah.
Well, Dom DeLuise is dead, for one thing.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I don't know if he wants to be compared to him, honestly. You know?
People compare me to this rotting corpse all the time.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
Dom DeLuise was a fat comedic actor from the 70s and 80s, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
With this picture,
It made my blood boil.
it got the attention of Deborah Saprinsky.
When they said waddle, walk, run, ride your motorized scooter in, you know, that's just wrong.
This skinny bitch is pissed off about it.
Yeah, I mean, she's not like super skinny, but she's clearly not 300 pounds herself. But I guess she's offended on the behalf of fat people.
I don't know.
But I mean, like, isn't this like the nigga paradox, where like he's fat so he can make fun of fat people? Because that's how I always understood these things. Like, if you belong to a minority group, then you're allowed to say insensitive things about it because you're necessarily encompassing yourself in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, and she's not like a person who's, you know, relatively skinny telling a fat person that they can't make fat jokes is kind of ironic, just vaguely.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
She says the store is
Isn't it
anything but
ironic?
sweet, and says the Fat Tuesday special sends the wrong message.
Some people fight with obesity for their whole life. No one should ever make fun of it.
While the candy store lost at least one customer, others didn't seem bothered by it.
If I keep eating the fudge, I might be over 300 pounds, so I'm kind of okay with it.
There's a carload of people from Colombia coming.
Dill isn't apologizing.
They're gathering up their fellow fatties.
He says, go big or stay home.
We're not trying to make a statement or do anything to offend anyone. We just thought it was a way to invite people to come in and have a good laugh.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to be offended.
No.
And it seems like even they could only find one
One
person.
person.
Who was. Like, this one bitch is offended. It's like, oh, shit, break out the news crew.
Yeah.
Someone
crazy.
somewhere is offended by something someone else did.
Yes. It doesn't even...
Story at 11.
Yeah.
Film at midnight.
So now we'll talk about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wants a pardon for his rape conviction.
That mustache, I don't know if that makes him look more respectable.
It looks
or
like a Hitler mustache.
Kind of scarier. I don't know.
It's like borderline Hitler mustache.
It looks like a Hitler mustache that someone took an axe to.
Yeah, in the middle. It's
like
split it. Maybe he just can't grow facial hair there.
Maybe it looks like it's pointing up at his nose. Like,
yeah, here's the nose.
Nose here. Insert drugs here.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mike Tyson does cocaine, but I'd imagine
I'm
he
sure
probably
he
has
did.
at some
Yeah.
point.
Yes, I'm sure he has. Definitely.
Why are you sure? Just because he's black?
No, because he was rich. He
Yeah.
was rich, and now he's no longer rich.
He's rich and black and a
No,
boxer.
He's not rich anymore. At all.
No, he's got to be a little rich again because I see
A
him
little.
everywhere and doing Broadway shows and fucking producing hit documentaries. And
Not
all
like
kinds
he
of
used to
shit.
be. He was like the biggest athlete in the world at one point.
Right.
So, yeah. And every time he beat the shit out of someone, he got paid a lot of fucking money to do it. So,
I'm glad that in America someone can still get rich off of just beating the shit out of other people.
yeah, but he also pretty much destroyed heavyweight pro boxing, and no one really watches it anymore. So him and Don King, it was probably more Don King than him, but that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, I don't think you can blame him because he was a pretty impressive athlete. Don King was is a scumfuck.
I can tell you, Don King still has money left over from that
yeah, I think.
era.
Yeah, no, I don't think Don King is going to run out of money in whatever remains of his life. Probably not much because he's pretty old.
In pro boxing, they have like 3 or 4 world championships, and Mike Tyson was the first one to unify all of them. He was the first one to be undisputed world heavyweight champion. But before we go into this and start playing this, Mike Tyson, I don't know if he raped her or not. I was like probably in the 4th or 5th grade.
I thought you were about to say I was in the room.
What?
You were like, I don't know if he raped her or not. I was in the and my mind was just like the room.
No,
I was in the room.
No,
but I still don't know if it was rape. She seemed kind of into it. I don't know.
But he was a fucking nutcase back then, though. Definitely, he's mellowed out a lot.
Yeah, he's considerably more sane and
like
it's an amazing transformation of a personality. Honestly,
he fucking bit a guy's ear off. I mean, he was pretty out there at one point. You know, he wasn't used to losing, and he was getting his ass kicked, so he bit the guy's ear. And that going to prison pretty much ruined his boxing career because he was never the same after that. So it doesn't matter if they pardon it or not because people already have their opinion about it, and it's not going to change anything, and it's not going to change the fact that he was in jail for like 5 years or something like that. So here's the Mike Tyson story.
Full disclosure, by the way, Sonny, he's not only a client of mine, but I consider him a friend as well. He sat down with us recently, and wait until you see this interview. You know what I wanted to ask you about, and you and I have talked about this, and I want to talk about the rape conviction. Okay. I want to talk about the idea of getting a pardon, and I want to talk about the fact that you believe you were wrongfully convicted.
Wow, all right, which one's first?
Or you tell me, wrongfully convicted.
Yes, I do believe I was wrongfully convicted because I didn't commit the crime.
Let's talk about that night.
Please?
Because, you know, I've got to ask you the question I think that every woman watching this, every woman in the world is going to ask. They're going to ask.
But men are just sitting there totally unconcerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, only women care. Like a man, any man is like, I don't give a fuck he raped her or not. I don't care.
Yeah, I think what had happened was he was like a judge at a beauty pageant, and that's where he met the girl that accused him. And yeah, it was a long time ago, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's what 20 something years, gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, I was in grade school when it happened, and you know, it pretty much ruined his boxing career. And then so he got soft. As far as a boxing standpoint was concerned, after he got out of prison.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you're so hardcore that prison makes you softer. You know, like,
yeah, I mean,
you go to prison, it's like, man, he's not as tough. He's not as tough as he was before he went to prison.
You gotta train boxing, and he probably didn't really have the chance to do that in prison.
Yeah,
you know, it's a lot of physical conditioning.
Was it even a priority for him at that time?
Yeah.
You know?
So here we go.
Yeah.
Really, I've never heard, Mike, of anything like that. You're saying that you didn't rape her. So the judge got it wrong, the jury got it wrong. Convince me, pretend I'm the parole board, the pardon board. What happened that night?
Well, all the evidence wasn't brought.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, that's kind of like, I mean, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this person just setting themselves up as like, hey, I will be the final deciding factor. I'm the parole board.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I'm the parole board.
It's like, let me decide on behalf of all women. And, you know, and apparently not men, because men apparently don't care. I will decide on the behalf of all women whether or not you did this.
Yeah.
Because I am the most fitting judge. I don't know. It just kind of strikes me as egomaniacal, but maybe I'm reading too much into shit.
Yeah, I think it's just to make news. You know, they're making the news dramatic, I think, is what they're really doing.
Yeah, I guess that to get the big ratings, you have to keep everything kind of like, you got to make everything seem like monumental and important, like everything is being figured out and decided right before your eyes.
Like I said, it doesn't really matter if he gets pardoned. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he's already he already served his entire sentence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, whether or not he is guilty or innocent is really of no consequence at this point beyond just how individuals perceive him.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you believe he was guilty of rape, then you'd have a much dimmer assessment than someone who believes that he was wrongfully convicted of rape.
I mean, I doubt the fact that he got pardoned would change anyone's mind that believed he was
Yeah, I mean,
guilty.
like, if you believe he's guilty, I doubt that that him getting an official pardon is going to be like, oh, well, I guess he's not guilty then.
Yeah.
I mean, my position is I just don't really know. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I didn't really pay attention to any of the news on it back then because I didn't give a shit about the news when I was in grade school.
Sure.
So,
and I mean, I read up on this story a little bit when I found out we were going to be covering it, and to see like what the evidence was, and apparently, everything I've read it said it all boils down to just a he said she said situation. So, then there's no physical evidence either way.
Yeah.
In that case, I mean, I just don't see how anyone can definitively claim that one thing or the other happened.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be some psychiatric evaluation techniques that might shed some light, but even that's not going to be definitive.
Yeah, I've heard him say that he was on a ton of psychiatric medication at one point in his life. He claims now that he's off of it, but who knows? You know.
It's pretty strange that he's off of it when he seems at his sanest. So
yeah.
I guess that maybe I don't know. I mean, like, you kind of wonder, like, how can someone go from being so crazy to seeming so, lucid and reasonable?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's almost like there's not even a shade of the man that he once was in him, and it doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, he just seems more mellow. He used to seem just insane.
Maybe he started smoking pan.
Probably. I remember early in his career, he tried to commit suicide by crashing his car into a tree.
That's a pretty hardcore suicide.
Yeah.
The only more hardcore suicide I heard about that is I was watching this show about stalkers, and this guy tied himself up in his own garage and lit the garage on fire so that he would burn to death.
That's just crazy. It's like one of the worst possible ways to die.
It's like, okay, I will now commit suicide in the most gruesome and painful manner possible just to show, like, to make a statement, I guess, to the world.
Well, that monk did that. Was it Vietnam?
I wouldn't consider that a suicide, though, necessarily. I mean, obviously, it was a suicide in the technical sense, but it wasn't like your classic, I'm so depressed, so I'm going to kill myself. That was like a protest gesture.
Yeah, it's quite a gesture. All right, back to Mike Tyson.
Case, they excluded all the evidence that was in my behalf. The evidence that the witness saw her kissing on me and fondling me in the car.
Did she fondle you and kiss you in the car?
100% yes.
And there were 3 witnesses who came forward during the trial who were excluded. The judge.
I mean, it's very possible for a woman to be kissing and fondling you in the car and then rejecting you later on. I mean,
yes,
that's not necessarily evidence one way or the other.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the only people for whom that would be compelling evidence is someone who's just like, well, if she let him on,
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless you're that douchebag, in which case, shoot yourself in the fucking head. No.
So do you think, like, the jury was just kind of, like, starstruck, like OJ's jury? Or...
I mean, I think that probably...
but it was kind of, like, reverse from OJ's jury? Like how...
Yeah, like a reverse OJ.
Yeah,
where,
yeah.
Like, they had so much negative feelings for him going in.
Yeah,
I don't know,
like
I mean,
him.
it's possible. I think that, when he crafted a reputation for himself as, like, this ruthless fucking guy that would just do anything and hurt anyone for any reason, so... I mean, it's pretty easy to believe.
It was like his public persona already.
Yeah, like when your public persona is like, I'm the most evil motherfucker and I'll kick your ass and I don't have no sympathy and I'll crush your fucking bones and eat your children and, all the shit he used to say.
Well, he was also a wife beater too, I'm pretty sure.
Indisputably. He doesn't even deny that.
So, I mean, that's... pretty. I mean,
Yeah, so,
that's
I mean,
not evidence that he raped anybody.
No.
But that's probably what compelled
to go
the jury
but to go on the flip. I mean, you know, a person having shitty moral character does not mean that every accusation levied against them is true.
True.
So I mean, like, there's so many mitigating factors on both sides that it's almost like you really anyone who feels like they truly know what happened, I think, is deluding themselves.
Yeah.
Just because they want some finality, like they feel like this human psychological need to come to some sort of concrete conclusion, even when one's not, you know, really justified by the evidence.
Excluded those witnesses
And then
because
again-
you said they came up forward too
What
late.
happened after that?
After that, of course, we went upstairs. I explained to her this is what we were going to do. She was.
What did you say to her?
I spoke to her earlier that day. We were talking earlier that day when they were going through the Black Miss America, when they were going through they were overgoing some of what the rehearsals they were going to do early, and I wanted her and her friend to also come with me, but she came by herself, and she knew what we anticipated doing.
How do you know she knew that?
Because I asked her and I said, "This is what we're going to do."
He fucking buried an axe in her.
He axed her.
Yeah.
You're
You're
racist, Ben.
What?
For pointing that out, that black people say axe.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What time?
And they can't pluralize
What were the words you
cent.
used?
Let's just put that out there too. You know, no matter how many cents you have, it's just 1 cent.
Yeah.
You have 78 cent. I don't understand that. Black people, get your shit together.
Well, see, you
What
asked
was
that
her
question.
response to that?
I'll see you after the concert, because at the first she was going to come to the concert, but she didn't come. But I called her, and she came to my car, and I believe this is early in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, something to expect. And so what are we going to my room to play checkers?
Right,
and,
at 2 or 3 in the morning at the hotel.
Would you
room.
come to my hotel?
This guy's basically like his lawyer sitting there with him, though. But I guess his job there is to argue the other side. So, but he did say that Tyson was like a client of his. I don't even know who that guy is, honestly.
Some guy.
Yeah, some guy on the news whose opinion apparently matters.
Room at 2 or 3 in the morning. After I explained to you what we're going to do. No, really, you come and put yourself in the situation. You're
I'm from the South Bronx.
Yeah, that's why you
So
know.
no.
That's
So
why
no.
you know.
But we're talking about someone else, someone that's sheltered, a young
no.
girl, 18 years
She's not
old.
sheltered
I'm a
because
little older
she's
than
not
that.
sheltered. No, you're wrong. She's already had a rape case already. She already accused somebody for raping her before. She's not sheltered.
Well, let's go
She's
back.
Well, hold on, but she's not sheltered. Take back that
Okay,
she's sheltered.
okay,
She's sheltered.
okay.
Say she's not sheltered, Sonny,
I
please.
think she was sheltered.
No, she said somebody raped her already. Now she's sheltered.
Sheltered.
No,
if they've
tell the truth.
already made
She's
the
already been through
accusation.
that
Who's to say
situation.
that she was not telling the truth then?
Well, they threw it out, but now she happened
doesn't
to her
mean it
again.
didn't happen.
That means that you will put yourself in another situation to be that way?
There are several
No, I'm talking
women,
about-
Mike.
no.
I used to prosecute sex crimes. Yes, there are several women that are re-victimized over and over
Do
again.
they
So
like
that's
being
not
victims?
unusual.
Do they like being
Of
themselves
course
in a
not, but that's
position
not
of being?
unusual.
How do
But-
you know?
but I wanna get
'Cause
back
they
to that
No,
night.
they keep putting themselves in the situation of being a victim. So
I wanna
you
get
said
back
no.
to that night.
No, you said no just now. Let's talk about what you said. They keep putting themselves in the position of being a victim. So do they like that position of being the victim, of saying this guy hurt me, and they like people feeling the sympathy from them?
Was
This
she
is
a
what you
victim?
say.
Was she a
This is- No,
victim?
this is what you say. They like putting themselves in the situation of victim.
Was she
No,
a
she
A lot of
wasn't, but
people
she
could
liked that situation.
a lot of people could probably take an issue with what he just said.
Yeah.
But I like to point out that if he actually was wrongfully convicted of rape, he would have a pretty emotional feeling towards people who, in his opinion, falsely accused of rape. So,
yeah.
Oh, also, someone in the comments section, who is black, basically said of my earlier, well, you pointing out the axe thing and me pointing out the scent thing, that it's just an accent, and that we shouldn't make fun of it. So, I'd make fun of other accents, though. I mean, like, I have no problem making fun of any accent that I can actually do, but I can't do many accents.
Like you can't imitate.
Like
any
at least it's not a Cockney accent or like Boston accents actively piss me off. I'm sorry if you're someone who has a Boston accent, but like don't ever talk to me. Seriously, it pisses me. I can't stand it. It's not an idea.
Yeah.
There's no fucking R. You goddamn assholes. And it's like they take the R's from other words and they put it in idea in like words like idea. Like idea, but when they say car, it's like car. There's an R in that. There's an R in car. There's no fucking R in idea. God damn it. Learn to fucking talk.
Obviously, not all black people say axe. And, you know.
I've never met one that doesn't. Does Obama say axe?
No.
Come on. It probably slips out every now and then.
No, I don't think he... No.
I think so.
Anyway.
That's just speculation on my part.
Situation of being a victim. That's what you said. You know, people that keep putting themselves. You're the prosecutor, Sonny.
Doesn't mean she liked it.
No, you're the but she liked being in that position.
But this is
no, but you're the prosecutor, Sonny. No, Sonny, no.
This is
no,
what's
Sonny,
important.
you're the no. You
Mike
told
Tyson.
Sonny, no.
This is
you
what's
told
important.
us just now.
This
No,
is
you told us
Mike
just now that they like being the and they continue.
You think, in retrospect, you're a father now. You're a husband. Could you have misread the situation?
Listen, I read it to the best of my ability. I've been through situations like that before, and this never was the outcome.
You think part of it was that you didn't walk her downstairs, or that
well,
you
listen,
didn't?
that's what everyone says.
That's what everybody says. That's the urban legend.
I'm not going to go with that. I'm not going to go with that. I just think this is premeditated. This is what they wanted to do. Because, of course, in one of the cases, she said, "Wasn't you? You know how stupid he is. You know how much money Robin Givens got from him. Did you know that, Sonny?"
Yes. Yes.
All right.
You think she set you up?
I think I was set up, and the system helped her.
You think she lied?
Yes, implicitly.
Well, then let me ask you this. I mean,
ask me anything. I always want to hear what you have to say.
Thank you.
Whoa. Is he like getting fresh with her or something? That's kind of what it sounds like.
Maybe a little.
Or maybe he's being sarcastic.
It sounds like he's kind of being a little playfully sarcastic.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing about the woman saying, "Oh well, I'm gonna fucking get some money out this guy," that doesn't. I mean, like, it's very it's possible. I just want to point out, to be a rape victim and still be a greedy fuck about it later on. I mean, so I mean that doesn't really disprove anything either, or even give me pause.
We now know that it's been reported, she's changed the way she looks. She's had cosmetic surgery. She's changed her identity. She says that night ruined her life. If she's watching this right now, what would you say?
That you did the wrong thing by changing your identity, changing your look. You should be proud if you feel that you've been victimized by me. You should be, I am the person, I am Desiree Washington, and this man abused me, and I'm not changing my story for nobody.
Do you think you owe her an apology?
I don't think I owe her anything, no.
No.
I think she owes me an apology, because my life has been ruined more so than her.
And that's why you want the pardon.
100%. But do I think I get a pardon? No, because I'm Mike Tyson, and I have my stereotype.
Even he realizes it.
And it is definitely true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think his reputation might be a little better now than he thinks it is. Because,
yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people kind of realize that he's not the way he used to be. At least he showed no sign of it. I mean, it could be that he's just putting on a very elaborate act because he knows that this will keep him, you know, on top, and the people are compelled by a narrative of redemption. But I don't know. I don't think he's that Machiavellian, so.
All right. God, TJ, I can hear, like, everything you do. Do you want to move on to the next one, or do you want to take a break, or what?
I don't think we need a break. Let's keep going.
All right. Okay. So apparently this teenager, he was running late to go to school, and he thought he was grabbing a soft drink out of the fridge when actually he grabbed a beer can. And when he got to school, he realized it, and he was like, "All right, well, it's no big deal. I'll just turn it over to a teacher, just in case anyone notices it." And this is, you know, he was actually punished for doing the right thing.
An honest mistake.
It's been said honesty is the best policy, but Chaz Seal doesn't believe it.
Not right now, I do not.
2 weeks ago, the 17-year-old Livingston High School junior says he accidentally grabbed a beer from his fridge instead of a soda, then packed it in his lunch kit. It was an honest mistake, says his mother, one that could happen to anyone.
He was in a hurry, running late. We were talking about school and put it all together and ran out the door.
The teen says he realized what he did while in third period.
So I gave it to the teacher thinking I wouldn't get in trouble, and I got in trouble.
Lots of trouble. 3-day suspension and 60 days at an alternative school.
This is welcome to another no tolerance policy.
Yes.
It's like, you know, there's mitigating circumstances. Well, too bad. That sucks real bad for you. But we got to enforce the rules no matter what, because the book says we have to do this in this event, and no one who wrote the book foresaw this circumstance. So you're just fucked.
Yeah. Yep. He almost would have. He probably would have stood a better chance if he would have just drank the beer and threw away the can. Or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This basically just encourages students in his position to do the wrong thing. It's like, hey, don't do the right thing, you'll get in trouble. Do the wrong thing so you actually stand a chance of getting away with it.
Yeah.
I was just baffled. I said 60 days. I said that's the maximum amount.
The mom tried explaining to the school principal her son did the right thing by coming forward and feels the punishment doesn't fit the crime. In a statement,
There was no
the district
crime.
says,
There was no crime.
Yeah.
The only crime was being slightly careless.
It would have been a crime if he would have drank the beer.
And even then, I'm not one that I give a shit about.
Yeah. I mean, there's countries where this guy looks like he's probably about 16 years old. So there's countries out there where he'd be old enough to drink, for sure. It's only in the U.S. do we have such a high drinking age for some reason.
quote, the principal of Livingston High followed appropriate LISD administrative procedures. LISD encourages any parent who is in disagreement with an administrative decision to seek relief through the appellate process. A Facebook page in support of Chaz has already been started. It's a welcome sign of support for a mom who is working hard to clear her son's name.
I think it's not black and white. There has to be a gray area. You can't punish a kid for doing the right thing the same punishment that you would give a kid that you catch doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Well, that just makes too much fucking sense. Apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is the counter argument to that? I mean, that's the most common sense. Like, hey, welcome to how to conduct anything that involves human beings 101.
Yeah.
I mean, like you don't punish people for doing the right thing. You punish them for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, you encourage doing the right thing.
It's like, oh, I made a mistake. What should I do? Now anyone who makes the same mistake or even a similar mistake who knows anything about this story is going to be like, well, I'm better off just fucking trying to conceal this, because even if I try to come forward and be like, hey, I accidentally grabbed this beer by mistake at home. I was trying to grab a soda. I don't know what I was thinking. And it's like, oh, well, you need to be suspended for fucking, 3 days, and you need to have this 60-day whatever levied against you. So, yeah.
They said it like an alternative school. I'm not really sure what that means, but doesn't sound like a good thing.
Yeah. That's basically where they send the fucking the kids that are fuck ups.
Jesus.
So basically, like, you got to go to the fuck up school.
Yeah, it was like 60 days, so it was like 2 months in the school.
I mean, this is obviously not a decision being made by a human being weighing the facts before them. This is a decision being made by, like, what does the book say we should do?
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying when we had Dusty on too, it's kind of like the mandatory minimum sentencing in the legal system.
Yeah. I wish Dusty was here to comment on this one, actually.
Yep.
Because he seemed to be pretty passionate about these shitty schools and their weird lack of ability to interpret nuance in social situations. It's like our entire American school system is like severely autistic. It doesn't know how to actually deal with human beings. And I understand there's high functioning autistic people. Please don't jump down my fucking
TJ,
throat.
you're just pissing everybody off tonight.
I know.
All right. So, we'll move on to John McCain. We talked about John McCain yesterday. We had a great picture of him then. I would use it again, but I don't want to keep using the same pictures over and over again.
That's his Popeye picture.
Yeah. Yeah, he does kind of look like Popeye.
I'm McCain the Sailor Man.
And he's pissed off at Republicans. basically.
John McCain pissed
The
off
president,
his
of
own
course,
party.
wants Congress to pass an aid package and a sanctions package because of the crisis with Ukraine, to stand up to Russia, if you will. Some Republicans are blocking that, and John McCain, listen here, he's hopping mad.
Hopping mad.
You can call yourself Republican.
You know, I'm
That's
sorry,
fine.
but I can't see John McCain hopping. You know.
Yeah.
I know it's just an expression, but you know, the visual is of someone so angry that their body is propelling them up and down off the ground, and obviously, no matter how angry John McCain gets, his body is not going to do that job. So.
Yeah.
You can call yourself Republicans. That's fine, because that's your voter registration. Don't call yourself Reagan Republicans. Ronald Reagan would never go let this kind of aggression go unresponded to by the American people.
You know, Republicans talk about Ronald Reagan like he was Jesus.
Yeah, and I think McCain is actually right. Like, he's basically saying if that is your role model, then what you're doing here does not make any sense, because that's not what he would do. That's clearly not what he would do.
Yeah.
So I think he has a good point in the context of, like, if you guys are saying let's emulate Reagan, then why aren't we emulating him here? But you know, I obviously think emulating Reagan is probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really much of a Reagan fan myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Reagan was the first president that I can remember.
The first president I think I remember was Bush Sr.
Yeah. Yeah. Reagan was president for pretty much all of the 80s, for the most part. So,
president of the 80s.
And now they talk about him like, I don't know. It's weird how Republicans talk about him. It's almost like they rewrote history about Reagan.
You know, it's kind of funny because they kind of view him as the architect of their modern party, and the reason why is largely because he rolled out the red carpet for the religious people. Because actually, the highly religious votes used to be would pretty much go to the Democrats prior to Reagan. But you know, after Reagan, you know, the Republicans became the party of you know, Christianity and mainstream religion and shit. But I mean, it's kind of funny because that's almost like, I think, been the seed of the destruction of the Republican Party. It's like a germ that's just infected them, because it's basically made them the most we're the uncompromising old white people party. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really gonna draw anyone else in. You guys know that, right? Like, no, it'll be fine. Our ideas will compel them. I don't think that's gonna happen, but okay.
What's this about, Robert Costa? We've seen this foreign policy debate in the Republican Party, the growing libertarian streak, the non-interventionist streak, people who stand up to, you know, the more muscular foreign policy that McCain has advocated for years. How significant is this divide?
I was at the Capitol yesterday, and speaking with House Republicans, this is not really about ideology. It's really like about most things in politics. It's about money. House Republicans, especially the conservative wing, they're resistant to giving this kind of money to foreign projects, and that's why they're not supporting it.
And listen here, Julie, let's get the White House perspective, because Lindsey Graham, who has a Tea Party challenger back home, doesn't appear to be in trouble at the moment. But listen to him here very quickly, telling his old Senate friend John Kerry, now Secretary of State, how can I help you, buddy?
Let me know what I can do to help you with banter.
Oh, yeah, and this is like
Let
something
me know
totally
what I can
different.
do. That might hurt.
Now they're talking about something totally different. They're talking.
Fuck them then.
Yeah. Well, fuck you guys.
John
Fuck
McCain.
you, CNN.
I think it's funny that John McCain rhymes with totally insane.
Fuck you, Bill Maher. Fuck you, Bill Maher.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Your mother in our
Fuck
fucking
you!
asshole. Go fuck yourself. That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him. He gets on his dumb fuck show and talks shit like that all the time.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Oh, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck your mother!
We're gonna get flagged for sheer profanity now.
Does that really happen?
No, I don't think so. If it did, it would have happened. It would have happened to me many times.
Yeah,
there actually was a point where YouTube was kind of cracking down on profanity, but I think they've pretty much given up that fool's errand.
I remember when people were bleeping themselves.
I had to do it for a while because YouTube just did this serious crackdown. They're like, we want to do family content, and they've kind of dropped that bullshit.
Yeah, that's
there's
dumb.
like, families don't your family don't give a fuck about YouTube. Okay, no, it's not a family site. Quit trying to make it some family shit. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, YouTube. Take your family shit and shove it up your fucking ass.
Go fuck yourself. That cunt is a douchebag, and I
fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I think we're going to take a quick break for about 10 minutes or so. We'll be right back.
Ben needs to pee.
Fuck yeah. Gotta pee so bad.
Hey, TJ is back. Ben's not back yet. I'm going to go again in a minute. But some people were, I just want to say, some people were complaining that I was making too much background noise and they could hear me, like, unwrapping Twix and eating them because they have all these mini Twix in a bowl. And they gave the bowl to me because, I don't know, it's kind of like giving a heroin addict, like, a big fucking bag of heroin and being like, here, have at it, sucker. But, you know... So that's what I was doing, and people could hear me going, like, unwrapping it and, like, fiddling with the wrappers and shit, like, yeah, yeah. And they could hear me going, good point, Ben. So that's what that was. It was me being a glorious fat ass, as I am, and making sure that I'll be able to get free fudge when I go to that fat fuck fudge maker's shop in where is that located? I don't even know. But I'm gonna drive there to get my one little piece of free fudge to glorify my my over 300-pound ass. So anyway, we'll be back in a moment, and I'm gonna turn the music back on so you guys can enjoy that once more.
realize that? You should be medicated.
Cena is great. We all know this. Let's go, Cena.
You lying piece of shit.
Cena.
You're a lying piece of shit.
I love
you. Don't.
I love Jim Cena.
He's Justin Bieber on steroids.
Justin Cena.
Who we did say was on steroids. I don't know for sure if he's on steroids.
I guess since we probably won't be doing another break, we should probably ask people to send in their Skype shit now. We're Drunken Peasants on Skype, so if you have a question, you want to be on the show and ask it to us and probably be mistreated by us. But not severely, just in a...
Not severely.
Just in a whimsical way. Then you can send in your question to the Drunken Peasants on Skype. Ben was just severely burned by his wife, so that's pretty funny.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's always good to see Ben suffer a little. Anyway, if you have a question, send it into Skype. Do not call us.
Yeah, and
Write
I mean,
us,
we may
and,
end up taking a break anyway just to read the questions.
Maybe so.
Yeah,
but might as well get people sending them in now. And expect a call. Don't send us a question if you're not going to be available to take the call. And yeah.
People were kind of wondering why we said that we thought Bieber was on steroids, And we don't know for sure if he's on steroids.
Yeah,
but
well, to give this context, in case you didn't see last night's show.
Here's what Bieber... I put up a picture of what Bieber looked like.
God, yes. Oh, sorry.
This is what Bieber used to look like back in the day. All right?
I mean to lose my composure.
Not even that long ago.
Yeah.
And then he's changed. And this is why I said it looked like he did steroids, because now he's like that. And I don't know for sure if he's done steroids. Obviously, in his profession, he would never be tested for doing them. But
yeah, there's not like, if that's the good thing about being a musician, you can pretty much do whatever drugs you want, including steroids.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe he just worked out. I don't know, but it happened pretty quick. It was pretty fucking quick, and he seems like very aggressive too, which is sometimes a side effect of doing steroids. So.
It could also be a side effect of a lifetime of people thinking you're a pussy.
Maybe, yeah, because he does try to act pretty tough now. You know, that lawyer was asking him about Selena Gomez. He's like, don't ask me about her again.
Don't ask me about her again.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to throw this chair at your fucking head. It's like, what? What are you going to do? I mean, like, what is Justin Bieber really going to do in that situation?
I don't know.
It's just like some tough talk from a very not tough person.
Yeah. Yeah, muscles don't make you tough either. I mean,
No.
like, they can make you stronger, that's for sure, but, you know.
His lawyer says it's tough being Justin Bieber.
His management team has to hire bodyguards to protect him because he is virtually assaulted wherever he goes.
Roy Black launched into a staunch defense of his client outside a Miami courtroom where Bieber is facing a DUI charge. He also faces an assault charge in Toronto.
Justin,
And a lawsuit involving alleged battery. But Bieber's lawyer says the blame lies elsewhere.
We love it when people start becoming successful, but once they actually are highly successful, we do almost everything we can to destroy their lives.
He wasn't present for the hearing, but a trial date was set for May 5th.
I mean, just to a certain extent, that is undeniably true, that Americans are vicious in their treatment of, you know, celebrities.
Sure.
On the other hand, I mean, it kind of depends on the behavior of the celebrity to an extent. I mean, if someone behaves like a vapid moron like Justin Bieber, you know, they don't have a very high standing. But I mean, like, no one's like persecuting like Robert De Niro or something. Like, you fucking piece of shit.
No.
You know, I mean,
it's usually it usually would be celebrities like him, like other like teen idol type celebrities. They usually get the backlash by, you know, the male demographic normally.
Yeah,
So-
because I mean, there's nothing appealing about Justin Bieber to most like guys. You know,
That's what John Cena is like. John Cena is not appealing to the grown male audience.
Right.
And that's what Justin Bieber. So John Cena is like the Justin Bieber of fucking wrestling.
Let's go, Justin. Justin sucks.
Yeah, and basically, it would be like the women and the children cheering for Justin Bieber, and all the grown men going, "Bieber sucks." So yeah, Justin Bieber talks about how hard his life. Well, his lawyer's talking about
the
it.
weird thing about Justin Bieber is that we all know who he is, and we all have to talk about him. We all have to endure news stories about him. Even sitting Congress people have to, you know, be silent. So, like, did you see that when the Congresswoman on MSNBC was interrupted so they could bring you the latest news about Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Did we cover that? You know, something like why is someone who only appeals to like a demographic of young girls who literally like they cannot vote, they have no real economic power other than the economic power they exert over their parents,
which can be a lot.
Yeah, which
sometimes.
can be significant, I admit. But I mean, like, why do we even have to know what's going on in their culture at any given time?
I mean, it could be. They used to play this kind of shit during the entertainment news.
Yeah,
and
but
now it's the real news. It's like the main headline of the day is whatever the fuck Justin Bieber did.
I think that's why we can't call it the real news anymore.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like, hey, this is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
I'm eating a hamburger while I'm talking because this show is just like whatever, you know?
It cuts into dinner time, damn it. All right.
Fucking show and it's shit.
Say they arrested Bieber for drag racing this yellow Lamborghini down the streets of Miami while...
Yeah, he has a hard life.
I just want to say this. Jessica Nicole in our chat room said, not all women like him. I think he's a fag. So...
Yeah, of course. Anytime we speak in general statements, obviously we don't really mean.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
like, understand that colloquially we'll make generalizations when, you know, we're intelligent enough human beings to understand that all generalizations are going to have about a billion of fucking exceptions. So
yeah,
please don't, you know, take anything the wrong way you know, don't fucking take this show that seriously is what it really fucking boils down to. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, we're just here fucking like. We're called the Drunken fucking Peasants, all right? If you're, like, sitting there like, man, the Drunken Peasants, I don't know if they really did a fair and accurate representation of that story. It's like, yeah, maybe not, because it's the fucking Drunken Peasants show, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not here trying to fucking, I mean, you know, whatever. Having a fucking breakdown now. Why?
Good one, TJ.
Influence back in January. The 20-year-old pop star pleaded not guilty to the charges.
What kind of question is that? That didn't make sense.
Last week, Bieber attended a deposition in a lawsuit brought by a photographer who says Justin ordered his bodyguard.
His hair looked like fucking Vanilla Ice's hair at that deposition. It's pretty bad. I'm talking like Vanilla Ice, you know.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Not like Vanilla Ice now, who, like, you know, has kind of modernized his appearance somewhat. You know, we're talking like, hey, Justin Bieber is like dressing and acting, and pretty much acting like Vanilla Ice back in the day.
The only thing he's missing is like the lines that were shaved into Vanilla Ice's eyebrow.
It's coming.
To attack him last summer.
Next. That's it.
TMZ released edited clips from the deposition on Monday.
The paparazzi then turns around and files a lawsuit for $7 million against Justin because Justin's the person who has the deep pockets.
Black also told reporters he filed motions to try and keep that tape private. Nichelle Turner, CNN, Los Angeles.
He winked at the fucking camera.
Someone in our chat room just said, Ice, Ice Bieber, which is pretty awesome.
Ice, Ice Bieber.
Maybe that should be the name of this episode. Ice, Ice Bieber.
Here's another fucked up story about a school.
Jesus Christ, what is this? Like shitty school day?
Yeah. Yeah, let's just review.
First, we have a school that basically says, "Hey, kid, we know other kids are making fun of you for your backpack, so just don't wear it anymore."
Yeah.
Let's not stand up to the bullies. Let's just alter the victim's behavior so that, you know, this harmless activity he's engaged in is now like seen as something wrong. It's like, hey, if anyone's bullying you, don't address the bullies. Just think of how you can change yourself.
What do you do, though, when the school itself is the actual bully? Like, the teacher is the bully.
Do you think that the school basically threw its hat in with the bullies at that point, in my opinion. Then what was the next? Then we had that other school that, what did they do?
The kid pointed his fingers like a gun.
Yeah, the gun kid. But then we had another shitty school even tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to play right now.
I know, but between that story and this story, wasn't there another story?
No.
Okay. I must have like imagined a fucking story.
You're hallucinating.
I'm like hallucinating shit that didn't even happen then.
Yeah. So the story is about, you know, if you're not hungry, you're not hungry, and this kid was not hungry with his lunch anymore, so he threw away his fucking lunch, and the teacher made him pull it out of the garbage and eat it.
Yeah.
10-year-old Gilbert Lopez didn't want his lunch, but after he threw it away, his teacher called him back and told him to dig it out of the trash.
Pick it out and just eat it.
And what did you say?
I said, I don't want to.
And what did she say?
She said, well, you have to.
And then what did you do?
Then I ate it.
So, I mean, like, this is a teacher that's basically bullying someone now.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, how do you address that in an anti-bullying campaign? I mean, isn't at this point it's like Pink Floyd said, teachers leave them kids alone. I mean, this kid, I mean, he didn't want to eat his food. I mean, I understand the lesson that she was trying to teach, like don't be
It's the
wasteful or something.
It's the wrong way to teach it.
That is, yeah, that's not the way you teach the fucking lesson. Like dig that out of the trash and humiliate yourself by eating garbage.
Yeah. Once it's in the garbage, it is garbage.
Exactly.
So this teacher made this kid eat garbage. Honestly,
teacher makes kid eat garbage.
I don't even care if the garbage was empty and it had like a brand new garbage bag in it. I don't
Someone
even
in
care
our
about
chat
that.
room says that their teacher took their lunch because they were eating it too loud.
I don't know. I think some people go into the field of teaching that probably shouldn't because they don't know how to interact with children. And, I don't hang out around a lot of children either, but, I don't try to make a career working with children either. So.
This was Wednesday at Alcott Elementary in Pomona. Gilbert says other students were also having lunch in the classroom because they had to finish an assignment.
It made me feel sad because a lot of people were watching me and they laughed. I felt disgusted.
Were you embarrassed?
Disgusted? It sounds like a rehearsed interview, but whatever, he's like 10 years old.
I just want to say that a bunch of people in the chat room are also saying that this kid looks high.
He does.
They said that this kid smokes pan.
I think...
Hey,
I think
hey.
I think it's just the time when the picture was taken.
Smoke pan
but
every day.
It does look like it.
Yes.
Sure. That's the only way he could get over the shame from having to eat garbage in front of everybody in the school.
Yeah. That was how he got the munchies going to even be able to do it in the
The
first
fifth
place.
grader was so humiliated he didn't tell anyone, but another student reported the incident to the principal, who called Gilbert's mom.
To me, she used her authority to take advantage of somebody who just listens,
The Pomona Unified School District superintendent said in a statement that Gilbert, quote, was made to retrieve the...
That's really kind of the problem, too, with teaching. Like, I know that, like, a lot of parents, they have this fetish for teaching their kids to be obedient because, of course, as authority figures, that's the state that is most, conducive to your happiness, as if your kid is totally obedient to you. But here's where that obedience kind of backfires. It's like, okay, if you just teach your kid to be obedient to authority figures, then authority figures can easily abuse them, and they just feel powerless to stop it from happening. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe teach your fucking kids to question what they're told a little bit.
Meal and eat so as not to waste it. The teacher has been placed on administrative leave while the matter is being further investigated.
She said that he hadn't ate anything off his tray, that she believed he was hungry.
Gilbert has no ill will towards his teacher, who he said is normally nice, but he doesn't feel right about what happened.
They're supposed to take care of our children.
Well, they're not babysitters, they're teachers, but this was obviously the wrong thing to do.
I don't know. I mean, like, I have a hard time believing that this was just a momentary lapse in judgment. But I mean, I suppose that I'd be willing to entertain that. But,
eat that garbage, kid.
Clearly, this is. I mean, it's pretty funny to make a kid eat garbage. I mean, let's just put that out there. Little Jimmy, eat the fucking trash, bitch.
Go fuck yourself. That cunt is a douchebag, and I fucking hate him.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's funny to do, but you shouldn't actually do it.
Yeah.
But if you do, be sure to let us know so we can feature it on the show.
Now we get to move into the lunatic conservative segment that we have here.
Awesome.
I love the way Michelle Bachmann's eyes look in this picture.
This is the part of the show where all of our conservative listeners will be like, these fucking liberal fucking faggots.
Do we actually have conservative listeners?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Do we really?
Yeah, we have a few.
Wow.
They watch our show just to disagree with us and call us morons.
Well, you know what? Just
but they
like
do watch,
just like anybody,
or listen rather.
Well, whatever they can say whatever they want. Like just like anybody, I can't generalize.
Not if Scotty's here, but
I can't generalize conservatives either, honestly. But if you agree with Michelle Bachmann, I can say that you're fucking crazy.
I'll go a step further and say that you should probably kill yourself. But
So here's something that Michelle Bachmann said recently that was interesting. Interesting meaning stupid.
Stupid.
If it actually plays. No.
It's not playing.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's nothing in it.
Holy shit.
Oh shit. Hold on.
It decided to play at the last minute.
Yeah. Fuck this. Fuck you, Belma.
Fuck yo, SoundCloud.
Like you said, there's nothing in about
There's nothing
sex.
about gays in there. But the gay community decided to make this their measure. And the thing that I think is getting
When
a
she
little
says
tiresome...
when she says there's nothing in there about gays, she's talking about the Constitution.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. There's nothing there's nothing in there specifically about a lot of things.
Yes.
I mean, let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty stupid argument. That's basically the political equivalent of like, there's nothing in the rule book that says a dog can't play baseball. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a lot of vague language there too. Like I was jokingly saying you know, about a month ago that maybe the right to bear arms means literally the right to like find a grizzly bear and chop off its arms and keep its arms in your house, like taxidermy those fucking things and hang them on the wall.
That does sound like something they would do in 1776.
My right to bear arms.
Is the gay community that they've so bullied the American people and they've so intimidated politicians. The politicians fear them. And so they think that they get to dictate.
I love that narrative. That is the most entertaining shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. The gays have bullied America long enough. What?
Yeah.
That's just like when you say something that stupid, you not only insult gays, but you insult America and yourself. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like when you look in her, like just look into her eyes. Don't actually. I mean, like you probably shouldn't have that picture up because I'm afraid people are going to sit there and they're going to look into her eyes and their souls will just be sucked from their fucking bodies. Like, can't you feel her gaze just penetrating your fucking essence right now? I mean, those eyes are fucking 2 tunnels into fucking Crazyville. Ugh.
The agenda everywhere. Well, not with the Constitution. You don't. The Constitution is immovable unless you change it through a constitutional amendment. If you want to take away my religious liberties, you can advocate for that, but you do it through the constitutional process.
Are gays taking away religious liberties? I mean,
what she's actually saying that because we're not going to let business because they've decided they're not going to explicitly let businesses discriminate against gay people on the basis of religion, that is curbing their religious liberties.
No, it's not.
That is, I mean, it's a preposterous argument. It's like that would be like when we're setting the slaves free. Why are you taking away our right to own slaves? It's like, no, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't frame the argument like that. You fucking imbecile.
There was a religious argument in favor of slavery,
of course
and
there was.
And interracial marriage, and all that.
In all fairness, there was also a religious argument against slavery, and the abolitionists were hugely motivated by faith as well. So,
yeah,
just for
arguing both sides of the issue using the same religion
to balance the scale. Yes, we believe that this magic book of fairy tales says it's okay for us to have slaves. Yeah, well, we believe this magic book of fairy tales says it's wrong to have slaves. Let's war.
You don't intimidate, and no politician should give away my religious liberties or yours.
Well, and I don't see the Democrats saying, let's change the Constitution and gut the First Amendment.
Hey, why should they? They've used the courts so brilliantly over the years with activist judges, and now they've got a president that's he's a lawless president who's violating the Constitution with every executive order.
Okay, a Supreme Court judge makes judgments. That's not activism. That's doing their fucking job.
It's activism if it benefits any sort of progressive agenda in their mind. Then it's activism. Yeah, I mean, like if you have an interpretation of the Constitution that allows for social progress to move forward, then you are an activist, which is wrong inherently for some reason. And but yeah, I mean, like a judge using their position as a judge to judge is certainly not something that it's right there in the fucking name, honey.
Yeah.
Judge.
Yeah.
Judge.
So whether you agree with their judgment or not, and obviously there's judges I've disagreed with too.
Sure.
That's what they do.
But liberals would never be stupid enough to look at a conservative judge and be like, he's a fucking activist. It's like, no, that judge is just a shitty judge. Let's get him out of there if we can, but a lot of times you can't get shitty judges out of there. They're like the most entrenched people of all.
Yeah, judges are normally in for life. That's why,
A judge has to do some serious shit to lose their position.
Previous to Obama, there was a lot of pretty old Supreme Court judges that were in there that retired when Obama got elected.
Gay sex is awesome. What the fuck is her problem? She should go eat some shellfish while having sex on the rag.
What?
Well, I think that he's because shellfish and having sex on your period are both prohibited by the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in Leviticus.
Yeah, in Leviticus.
So they're basically just poking fun at the basis of her morality, which
I totally get it
gibberish.
now. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it does say like you should only eat like fish with fins or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Leviticus has all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
It says you can't even. It also says you can't wear polyester fabrics.
Yeah.
You can't wear. You can't mix two fabrics because if you do, that just pisses God off. I mean, the Leviticus makes God sound like he has OCD. Don't mix the fabrics. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like that picture on Well, I mean, it's all. I've seen it all over the internet where it's basically like, oh, you have they show the Earth, and then they show the solar system, and then they show the Milky Way galaxy, and then they show the local supercluster, and then they show the known universe, and then they show Jesus looming over it saying, "Don't masturbate." You know?
Don't masturbate. I don't even know if that is. I don't think that's in Leviticus, though. I think that's somewhere. There was the story about the guy who spilled his seed.
Yeah,
right?
He spilled his seed on the ground, and God's like, "How dare you waste those sperm?"
Yeah.
Ah! So does that mean like? But I mean like, it doesn't even make like. Well, of course.
If you get into a bathtub that's too hot, you'll kill all the sperm.
Right.
So it's like if God really cared about sperm dying, why would He make them so fragile? They have to.
And also, I mean, like if they were meant to be so. If we're supposed to be so economical with them, then why do they regenerate so fucking quickly and easily? I mean, it's not like I just jerked off. Well, I wasted all my sperm for life. I guess my purpose on this earth is now null and void.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are, I mean, plenty of men are capable of reproducing throughout their entire lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, like, fucking, men can have kids in their fucking 80s and 90s. I mean, that's not recommended, but,
yeah,
you could do it if you want. I mean, some men can anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so moving on to someone even more crazy, or I don't know. I don't know who takes the title here.
I would say it's a tie. But if these two ever had sex, well, they're going to give birth to something unholy. You've seen the scene in the end of The Fly where she gives, well, the dream sequence in The Fly where she gives birth to the fucking maggot. That's going to be the reality here. I wish we had that clip. We could just play it. But, we don't, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, do you want to set this one up? Because you're the one who told me about this, and you made a video about it, right?
I actually just put a video up about this. This is a guy who basically he's a conservative radio host. His name is Kevin Swanson, although I always want to call him Kevin Lawson for some reason. He's a nut job who thinks that Disney movies contain propaganda to brainwash young girls into becoming lesbians and approving of bestiality. And he says that you'll hear what he has to say. It's pretty fucking lunatic.
Man, how many children are taken into these things, and how many Christians are taking their kids off to see the movie Frozen, produced by an organization that is probably one of the strongest, most pro-homosexual organizations in the country. You wonder sometimes, I'm not a tinfoil hat conspiratorialist, but you wonder sometimes if maybe...
The funny thing is that he pretty much just denied being what he is.
Well, I say in my video that he may not be a tinfoil hat. The word he uses is weird. He says conspiratorialist or something.
Never.
Yeah, which I've never heard anyone else use that word. But I mean, whatever. Shakespeare made up words. I guess this weirdo can do it too. Anyway, but he might not be the same species, but he's definitely the same genus. He's just as crazy as that fucking kind of person. Yeah. So, well, you're about to hear his plan about what he would do if he were Satan.
There's something very evil happening here, Steve.
It makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder, yeah. I mean, if I was the devil, what would I do to really foul up an entire social system and do something really, really, really evil to 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds and Christian families around America.
The way he's saying it almost sounds like he really is the devil.
I know.
And he's like,
it's cool. I mean,
what if I was the devil?
Imagine if I was the devil. Yeah. What would I do to really foul up America?
He sounds like he's getting like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's getting he's putting his evil voice on.
Yeah.
He really is like,
oh, what would I do with the 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds? What would I do if I was the devil? Oh, what would I do to those little girls? Oh.
I mean, like, it's kind of weird because I pointed out in my video, there's no scriptural support for the idea that the devil would make girls lesbians. So where's he getting that from? It's really just from his own fevered imagination.
Someone in the chat room said conspiratorial is a word.
He said conspiratorialist, which I'm not saying that's not a word. I'm just saying most people say conspiracy theorist or even conspiracist. I've never heard conspiratorialist.
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound like the right term in that situation to me. But, you know, whatever. I'm not going to critique someone's language when I understood what the fuck they were talking about.
You and Susan Atanis are the devil. No, this guy's a devil and Susan Atanis is the Antichrist.
Yes, not the same thing.
She's the human spawn of Satan.
Susan Atanis.
I think I would make a movie.
I would buy Disney.
Yeah.
If I was the devil, I would buy Disney.
I didn't know that the devil had to buy things.
I know, dude, that's another thing. Like, the devil was like what, I don't even understand how that would work. Like, he kicks down the door to Disney. It's like, yo, Satan in the house. Throws down a fat wad of cash. Like, I think I'll take it.
Yeah, I think I'll take it. Disney. And he also has a Star Wars franchise, too.
Yeah, the devil is drawing all of the world's resources and entertainment to himself.
In 1984.
Yeah, and
that's what I would have done.
And then you start making.
I mean, that's another thing. I've not been able. I don't understand why he would buy it in 1984. He says he'd buy Disney in 1980. Why in 1984?
Is that when it started making big money? I don't know.
No, I mean, like, it doesn't. It makes no fucking sense. The year is totally arbitrary. I'm like, I know.
Is this like an Orwellian reference?
That's the only thing I can think is like, is he referencing Orwell? Because if so, that's the worst fucking Orwell reference I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
All these nice little movies that just throw little things in there that make sin look enticing, and in fact, some of the worst of sins make it look enticing, or at least.
In all deference to him, I've always had the theory that the Magic Carpet Ride song from Aladdin was a metaphor for eating pussy. So. I can show you the world.
To start to indoctrinate slowly. Turn the heat up on the frog in the pan.
Friends, this is evil. Just evil. I wonder if people are thinking, you know, I think this cute little movie is going to indoctrinate my 5-year-old to be a lesbian or treat homosexuality or bestiality in a light sort of way. I wonder.
So I know Ben does not even know what Frozen is.
No, I don't. I don't watch Disney movies. So
it was the latest Disney movie, and I watched it because I pretty much religiously watch them. But there's nothing in that movie that is the least bit lesbian allegorical, unless you're looking for that. There's nothing in the movie that even fucking hints at bestiality, unless you're looking for that. So, I mean, all of this shit just came from this guy's own fucking head. He's watching the movie and seeing this shit. It has nothing to do with the actual content of the fucking film.
If the average parent going to see Frozen is thinking that way, you know, I wonder if they're just walking in and saying, yeah, let's get my 5-year-old and 7-year-old indoctrinated early. Steve, you know they're not.
No.
I think for the most part they're oblivious.
Yeah.
And yet maybe they do pick up on.
The reason they're not is because that's fucking insane. I don't know. It's like, remember when Guerilla 199 went into the store and he asked the clerk, why do you have UFO signs all over the store?
You have to kind of explain the backstory on that.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Guerilla 199 pretty much thought that any shape
yeah.
was UFO symbolism. Like
triangles, were UFO symbols, circles were UFO symbols. Like, that alone, you know, like, he basically thought anything that contained triangles or circles. Or
basic shapes.
Even, like, I mean, like, pretty much any basic shape that there was, he said that was a UFO sign. So he told this story about how he went into this convenience store and he asked the clerk, "Excuse me, sir, why do you have UFO signs all over your store?" And the clerk looked down. He wouldn't even meet my eye. It's like, yeah, he wouldn't meet your eye because you're fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy. You don't understand it because you're too crazy to know you're crazy, but guess what? You're fucking crazy.
He also said TJ was a middle-aged man. I think you were probably, what, like 25 at the time?
I was younger than 25. I was like 22, and he was like, 22? You're a middle-aged man! TJ, you're a middle-aged man!
He also said that there were UFOs at the crucifixion.
He said that he said that Jesus was crucified on top of a pyramid, surrounded by UFOs. Part of his ideology. Not this guy. Not this guy on the screen now. We're talking about a totally different guy now, but just as crazy.
Who's actually more interesting to talk about than this guy?
Yeah,
honestly.
we should start. We should go back and find some Guerilla 199 videos and review those, because that would be fun.
I mean, we could literally do that right now.
Let's do it.
You want me to?
Yeah, let's just go to his channel and find, like, just click and see, like, what's the most popular video, and we'll just review it. I guess we got to find a picture of him too. I'll just keep the audience stalled while you do that. So anyway, I'll explain my Aladdin theory to you guys, the pussy eating thing, because really, like, if you know that song, it's about a magic carpet ride. I mean, think about it, folks. You know, and he's like showing her wonders and shit. And I mean, like, and after, like, he shows up, they go on that magic carpet ride, and then afterwards she's in love with him. Like, she hated him before. Like, what else besides the power of eating pussy could produce those results? Come on. You know, take a bitch for a ride on a literal rug. She don't care. Yeah, let's fucking fly around up in the air where it's fucking freezing ass cold and travel around the world somehow in a fucking night. Bullshit. It was a metaphor, and the metaphor was for the eating of the pussy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say that's a sound theory.
It's a sound theory, and much more logical than what this guy said. But I don't think it's actually going to brainwash kids into being, like, lesbians, though.
I think I found Guerilla 199's biggest video. I mean, it's got 500,000 views, so...
He's a brilliant guy. I don't know if he's still making videos or not.
I think he is. I'm pretty sure he is.
That's scary.
Well, you know, if people watch him, then whatever. I mean, there are people that are into this kind of stuff.
Yes.
So
I'm kind of scared that they occupy the same planet as I do.
Well, that's just because you're a tear.
You're a tear. We have to explain that.
Yeah. So here,
it's a little bit of a refresh. Like, Guerilla 199 believes that there are two sorts of infiltrators on the behalf of an evil Satan-worshipping alien race. There's the Tears, that's the actual aliens themselves who can take human form, and then there's the Freemasons, who are humans who serve the Tears.
Here, the video is about how to recognize reptilians and Freemasons.
Yes. We're going to take a listen.
And he's a Christian, by the way, too.
Yes, he's a Christian.
The book of Proverbs, which is the word of God, tells us that wicked men hide when no one is pursuing. That basically means people who hide their face, hide themselves, and do things to other people in secret so that they can't get found out. Now, the Lord has told us that the wicked are scared to come out into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. And of course, then they will be punished. So they hide. Now, these people aren't just your neighbours, aren't just people who run this country. It's all over the place.
Okay, so so far he's basically saying that the Bible predicted that reptilian
aliens have... He's saying that it's not only just the power structure, but that they're everywhere in your lives.
The Bible makes some radical claims, but I never got this out of it.
And lo, a race of alien reptiles will infiltrate you in the final days, and they will be your neighbor, and you will be unaware of their presence.
Around 20%
these
of
words.
the world.
And by the way, he just said around 20% of the world's population is
So if there's
in on this
there's
conspiracy.
7 billion people. I'm not the greatest at math, but that's a fuckload of billions of people who are in on this conspiracy.
Yeah, they're all in on it.
Every single goddamn stinking one.
All over the place. It's around 20% of the world's population are like this. They are either tares or they are Freemasons.
Okay, one thing that is definitely true about conspiracies is that the more people that have to be in on keeping the secret, the less of a chance of it is of the secret being able to be kept.
Right. So this is a secret that's basically like this is being kept by 20%. That means 1 out of every 5 people is either a tear or a Freemason.
Yep. So that must mean like Shanghai is like the capital of reptilian Freemasonry. You know? It's like, what the fuck?
I just want to. Also, why would they allow? Why would I mean? Like, obviously, everywhere you go on Earth, there's different cultures. Why, if these aliens had infiltrated us to this degree, why would they even allow our cultures to still flourish? I mean, obviously, like if they've infiltrated us to that degree, also, like, what is the point of a covert operation at this point? Like, if they're strategically placed in all the positions of power, and they're 20% of our planet's population, and they have interstellar travel technology, why would it even be a secret at this point?
Well, the funny thing is if they're trying to keep it a secret, why do they put their so-called symbolism everywhere? It's like they do it out of they just can't help themselves. And I think he touches on that.
Well, I think it's. I mean, in that scenario, I'd imagine it would be so they could communicate things to each other covertly without us stupid humans being aware.
Circle, triangle. I don't know. Okay.
And the ironic thing is he has a circle right behind him. So what is he saying there?
He's one of them.
And the Lord has told us that you can tell them by their fruits. Now, in the parable of the wheat and the tares, the angels said to the Lord, Lord, someone has placed tares amongst the wheat. Shall we go and take them up? And the Lord said, no. In case you damage any of the wheat, leave them there until the harvest. But the Lord also did tell us that we can tell them by their fruits. So they are a perfect counterfeit of us. They look like humans. That's their first great advantage. Their second advantage is that they hide.
It's like the plot to Terminator almost at that point.
Yeah, and right now he's showing all these different logos that he's basically claiming are part of it. Like the Citgo triangle logo, the Delta Airlines triangle. Basically anything with a triangle, the Bass Beer triangle logo. Basically anything triangle or circle.
I would like to. Jaclyn is writing us. Do you want to do this Guerilla 199 shit later and have her on to talk about her latest video?
Yeah, sure.
Or we could make fun of it with her even if she wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
We'll see if she's ready to come on.
Okay. You want me to play some more of them?
Yeah, let's just play a little more.
However, God has told us that they are brute beasts of instinct. In other words, they can't help themselves. They do the same thing over and over again. They are obsessive, they are compulsive, and they are absolutely ridiculous. But they are also dangerous and evil. Now, how do we flush these people out? They look like us, so you can't tell whether someone's a tear or a human being. Okay, we can't tell that, but we can tell if someone is a tear or a Freemason. There's a differentiation. You as a normal human being are just a normal human being that God made.
That doesn't make any
You're
sense.
his prized possession, his masterpiece.
If you can't tell if someone's a tear or a human, then how could you possibly tell if someone's a tear or a Freemason? Like, if you can't spot a tear at all, then how are you supposed to spot one when you're trying to differentiate it from something else?
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work, but okay.
These creatures are an abomination, And we have traitors on this earth called Freemasons, who are basically the Tears bitches. They do whatever they say.
I like how he's basically the Taz bitches.
He was getting into it.
Yeah, it's so out there. It's like watching a train crash in slow motion. You know, like you can't look away, but you just can't stop. You know, you can't stop listening to it.
Yes. Guerilla 199. You guys should check out Guerilla 199.
Yeah, it's funny, like we're promoting him. Yeah,
I mean, like, it's great to watch because he's totally fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just want to watch a crazy guy spouting insane shit, then you should definitely check out that channel.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Jaclyn on.
Yeah, Jaclyn Glenn's gonna come on right now. So we'll give
Do
her.
we have a picture?
You know what? I'll grab one really quick.
Let's just call her in the meantime. I'll talk to her with my charm and wit.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're wonderful.
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Busy, just got back, so I'm glad that I made it in time before the show ended.
Where'd you get back from?
I've been running errands like crazy today. My phone decided to stop working, so I had to go to a Verizon store and get a new one. So yeah.
That's always fun.
Uh-huh. Loads of fun.
So you put out a new video today that I watched and I thought was pretty cool. It was not today, it was yesterday, I'm sorry. It was Agnostics Are Atheists. Is that the correct title? I have a terrible memory for that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so why don't you take us through the premise of that video a little bit, and maybe we'll kind of spitball it around.
Okay, yeah. I'm probably going to actually make another one in response to my own video because of all the comments that I got of people who are apparently still very confused. I have a lot of conversations with family and friends that are very Christian conservative, and a lot of times they get mad at me for using the word atheist to describe myself. They're like, why can't you just say agnostic? And they don't understand that they don't understand the definition of these words, I don't think. I think atheist is this horrible thing, like that it means you know that there's no God for a fact, so you're an atheist. It's like, no, that's actually not what it means. It just means that you do not accept or believe that there is anything, any deity out there. That's all that it means. But they think that if you say agnostic, it's more, accurate because you can't prove that there's no God, etc. But I tried to explain in my video that agnostic defines a position of knowledge, because that's what Gnostic means, knowledge. So it's just saying that you don't have knowledge of a particular thing. It doesn't have anything to do with belief. So whenever somebody uses agnostic alone to describe their belief system, I don't think that makes any sense, because that's not what the word means. So that's just kind of what I was trying to explain in my video, and it went over most heads, I think. I don't know why, but it did.
Right, because, I mean, the colloquial definition of agnostic that has kind of arisen is not congruent with the actual meaning of the term, or at least what the term is supposed to mean, because people kind of use it to mean, like, well, I'm on the fence, like, I don't know. But, I mean, like, even if you don't know, even if it's like, I'm not really sure, you probably still either have a belief or an absence of belief. There's no way you can just be like, I'm just totally, I don't know.
Right.
And if you're agnostic about the Christian God, then you'd have to be agnostic about the Muslim God and every God that's ever existed, and Santa Claus and elves and fucking unicorns and shit. So, I mean, why would you? I mean, it's really not much softer of a position. Really, most people who call themselves agnostics really are atheists. They just shy away from the term because it has such a shitty reputation in so many circles.
I think some people just take less offense to the word agnostic, and I think that's probably why your family would rather call you agnostic, because maybe they take more offense.
Right, but they take less offense to it, but it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely,
just because,
I agree.
So that's why I'm just like, no. And the sooner that the word atheist isn't as taboo or offensive for no reason, the sooner we can all just get over this and say what we are, because I feel like, shying away from it's causing a lot of problems. So I don't know. And I want to make another video because, like, a lot of people who commented on it were still trying to justify the use of agnostic as a valid position of belief. They were like, well, sometimes you just don't know. I'm like, well, then you're an atheist because you don't believe in anything, but you're saying that you don't have any knowledge for sure. which is agnostic atheist, which is what most people, I think, who are struggling with the idea should identify as.
Saying you don't,
but then I had a lot of people
saying you don't know just strikes me as dishonest, though, because it's like if someone comes to you with this proposition like, okay, listen up, 5,000 years ago, there was God created man out of dust, and then he created woman out of man's rib, and he created the entire universe in 6 days, and a talking snake tricked man and woman into falling in sin, and then the next thing we knew, a couple thousand years later, God had a son named Jesus who died for our sins, and do you believe this or not? It's like, well, no. The correct answer to that is not like, hey, maybe, could be. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, on a technical level,
Right.
like, I suppose
Yeah.
that could be possible, but do you honestly believe that or entertain it on any real fucking serious level? No. Of course not, because it's fucking silly.
Right. That's the same reason why you don't go around saying you're agnostic about fairies and hobgoblins and witches and warlocks, etc. Like anything supernatural, you wouldn't say, "Oh, I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, maybe Harry Potter is true. I can't know for certain that there isn't a third dimension." You know, like you can't say agnostic about any of those things. People would laugh in your face. But the thing is whenever people are raised, you know, and indoctrinated so heavily, it doesn't seem like such a stance to believe in God, or you know, whatever they were raised with, whether it was Christian God or Muslim God or whatever. It doesn't seem outrageous to them. It does to us because we've been away from it for a while, and you know, it's what has been seen cannot be unseen. But for them, it's not as ridiculous. So that's kind of the purpose of my video. My last one was just kind of like addressing those people who are on the fence, who are still saying agnostic. Like that's why, because it seems valid.
But that's kind of the point, though. Like, if you're a Christian and you overlook all of the fucking obvious bullshit in the Bible, you can chalk it up to, well, they're respecting it because it's out of faith. But if your position is truly agnostic, like I'm not sure, then what is your uncertainty based on? Like, if you don't have faith that this happened, and there's no evidence that this happened, then what are you even confused about?
Yeah, I would say both Jaclyn and TJ are Gnostic in their atheism rather than agnostic. Like, you guys are, you know, pretty much sure that there is no God.
No, I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
I would not even say that. I would never say I'm sure there's no God.
I would not say
but
agnostic.
No?
I
Okay.
would say I'm agnostic, but I would say that the probability that I assign to the possibility of God is so minuscule that I am effectively Gnostic.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Like the thing that got me is that I had a lot of people on my video commenting that were atheists that were kind of mad at me, and they were like, "I am Gnostic." And I'm like, you know what? I just like, I know that it sounds ridiculous. And like I said, you could say that you're agnostic about any random supernatural thing you could just think up of on the spot. So I get it. Like TJ said, I'm effectively Gnostic, atheist. But like at the same time, you're still agnostic because there's no way you can prove or disprove a negative. So it's like, I just feel like it's the more honest position to take, and it leaves the floor more open to discussion with other people who disagree with you. Because if you sit there and pretend to know that there's no God, they're going to shut you out immediately, because honestly, there's no way to know that. So even though it sounds ridiculous, I feel like saying that you're a Gnostic atheist is just kind of, it's just going to come off in a really bad way. Like, I know what all.
I mean, like, I would consider myself agnostic about everything, though.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly,
I am
'cause that's the
agnostic.
honest
I'm
position to take.
agnostic about my own fucking existence. Now, obviously, the probability is shifted a lot more in my favor on that one. But I mean, do I think there's some possibility that I don't really exist and that I'm not really experiencing anything, and that this is all some sort of fucking program or, you know, whatever else? I don't know. I mean, sure, I assign some possibility to that, but I mean, that's the point. I mean, like, you can't take anything for granted, and certainty is bullshit. There's no fucking like anyone who says that they're truly and absolutely certain of something to the point where their mind could not be changed by any additional information, like Ken Ham.
Mm-hmm.
When you reach that point, I mean, that's a psychosis, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't been there.
Were you there? Were you there? I can't do Australian, so I'm just defaulting to whoa.
Yeah.
Were you there?
Well, you know, there's a book.
Yeah, there is a book.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book.
I've heard people actually argue the Bible's length and how long it is as evidence that it's true.
The phone book is pretty long, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to seek the meaning of life.
Well, that is true. You know, you call the numbers and people will answer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a phone book in forever.
There's so many long books out there.
They continue to put them on my fucking porch, despite the fact that I don't want them. It's like, hello, I have the internet. Fuck
Before
off.
we had you on, we were listening to a guy that believes that the Bible foretold that reptilian aliens and their Freemason slaves would pretty much control the Earth and make up 20% of its population.
Yep, I have a couple people I know that think that, or similar. I mean, similar, yeah. My relative at one point had this idea that there were aliens actually walking around in human form, and the only way you could tell it was an alien was because they had a very distinct smell. So I'm like, well, I smell a lot of people that are, kind of gross, so maybe they're aliens. You never know. I'm agnostic about it, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah, me too, but not very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, everyone should go check out Jaclyn's video and subscribe to her channel, and also be looking out for her follow-up. Are you going to do a follow-up for sure?
Yeah, for sure. I have to, because I just got so many retarded comments I have to.
I personally, I have to tell you, I never do follow-ups regardless of what the reaction to a video is. Like, I don't care if no one understood what I was going for and everyone is fucking being retarded in the comments section and totally missed the point. I don't care. You know what? If they were too dumb to get it the first time, I'm not going to fucking sit there and explain it again. So that's my attitude. But
yeah, I guess so.
You're
there's
a little,
so many things.
maybe you're a little
There's so
nicer
many-
than me then.
I don't know. I really want to get the point across. And whenever I don't, I felt like I was really clear, and I even broke down the definitions of the word and explained what the prefix a meant when you put it before a word like asymptomatic. Like, I went through and explained everything, and there were people who were like, yeah, but I don't get it. So that just really frustrates me. And I guess, just the perfectionist side of me comes out, and I'm just like, okay, that's it. I have to make another one and go through all the questions that I got about it.
Listen, 1 + 1 equals 2. Like, see, if I have 1 apple and you have 1 apple, then we have 2 apples. I don't get it. What the hell you talking about? You insane.
If the Bible says we have 3 apples, I'm going to believe it and then try to make sense out of that later.
Maybe, well, you see, these apples are larger than average, and so if you calculate them by mass, then you'll see that really you have the volume of 3 apples, not just 2. So technically, the Bible was still right.
Exactly. That's the best justification ever.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yep, so I'm going to do a follow-up. And it was kind of funny because Richard Dawkins actually retweeted that video and had people arguing with him on Twitter, trying to argue the definition, and he was responding to a lot of them, which I thought was hilarious because he has to put up with the same shit that we have to put up with, people, commenting stuff that just makes no sense. And he's like, did you even watch the video? It's like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me today that I was stupid because the only measure of intelligence is mathematical competence. So that was
Right.
that was refreshing.
Like, hey, guess what? You don't have this one skill, so you're a fucking dunce. Here's your cap.
Didn't you get this really long email from this white supremacist guy that said he'd debate you in anything but not mathematics? It's like, and you were like, how could you debate mathematics?
Yeah, it's not really up for debate.
Yeah, it's either wrong or it's correct.
It's just a theory.
Yeah.
Math is a theory. I mean, to some extent you can debate math, I must say, because, there is some room for, because it is just a representational model of reality. So, you could say that the model doesn't incorporate all nuance, or that there's variables that might not be accounted for, but that's really just a refining of math. Yeah. That's just a refining of math and building a more sophisticated model. That's really not, I guess, something that would be there's no room to really interpret it like it's a holy scripture or something.
Mm-hmm. I can see somebody commenting that, though. If you made that statement in the video, oh, you want to argue math? How do you argue math? There'd be somebody in the comments who would be like, well, actually.
There's always someone doing that.
That person.
I can't really fault them because I'm an actually person myself.
To that degree, though, be like, you can't debate math.
Sure.
Math is math.
Sure
You'd
I
be
can.
like, well, technically, yes, you can. I hope not.
I'll even argue positions I don't hold just for fun. Like I'll just
I do that too.
I'll go to someone and I'll just be like, let's see if I can fucking argue with this person, even though even though I agree with them, and I'll just like I'll just do it to like just test myself. And it's always funny when I change their mind. Like, I guess you had a good point. I'm like, actually, I don't even believe what I just said.
Then they get really pissed off.
I never actually tell them that because I assume that they'd be like, don't play fucking games with me or something. But, you know, I can't help
If someone argued with me and actually changed my mind about something and then they were like, well, actually, I don't even agree with that, I'd be pretty pissed off.
I know, right? So,
Yeah.
especially after like a 2-hour argument.
You're like, fine, you're right. No,
like-
I don't think that.
Actually, that was just an intellectual exercise for my own amusement. Sorry.
Yep. That's hilarious. I could see you doing that. Actually.
Yeah, he
But yeah.
doesn't.
Well, Jaclyn, we could let you go, or you could stay with us as we take calls. It's up to you.
I have to run, actually. I've just popped in for a second, and I'm about ready to go out again. But I wanted to join and talk about agnostic stuff and say hello. And I am working on our collab. We will definitely do that very soon.
Yes,
All
our
right.
collaboration.
Our
Wink,
collaboration, top secret. Okay.
All right, thanks for being on.
Thanks, Jaclyn.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, is that Galen wanting to say something to us?
Let's see.
What is he saying? I can't read it from here.
Let's just bring him on.
Bring him on? Okay.
If he's
Does he want to come on?
I don't know. Maybe
Write him and ask him if he wants to come on, because he might just be like trying to whisper in our ear.
Here.
Do 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 do. Entertain them, Ben.
I don't know how to entertain them.
Here we are now. Entertain us. Did I actually send? Because you moved it as I was doing it.
Oh shit! My apologies. Here we go.
There we go. Galen. If he doesn't want to come on, we have a fuckload of other people.
Fuck you, Bill Maher. Fuck you, Bill Maher.
We have a shitload of people who want to come on here, so
He said he will come on too. Yeah, I mean we got a lot of people.
let's talk to him for a minute, and then let's take a break, and then we'll call these other fucks.
Awesome.
Galen in his house. Galen.
Hi, Galen.
Galen in his house.
Yeah. I heard y'all started talking about math, and my brain started fucking hurting.
It did? Okay.
Every time I come on this show, I just want to say that I always feel like I need a knife, and I need to like have 3, or I need to really move quickly to kill every one of you on the show. Because you have, and you don't, look, you're all smart fellows, and I like you all, and friends. But when you gang up together and you start looking at stuff on the internet, the hive mind starts fucking working. And when I'm sitting here on the show listening, I'm like, oh my God, they didn't just say that. Why am I not there to like beat them on the head like Mo, to Curly and Larry and Shemp? That's how I feel every fucking time I listen.
Okay.
So you start talking
Galen,
about math.
tell us how you really feel, though.
Math, when you start talking about math and systems of human understanding,
Oh, you misheard.
created
You,
by man.
you misheard us. We actually said meth.
Yeah, right. You wish. You're looking at stuff through Plato and his absolutism, which isn't scientific. But then again, Descartes, who everyone wants to go back with scientific method as well, they're both idiots. They made, look, Plato had some great stuff that he contributed, but like you should read into Descartes and his foolishness and how that influenced how people today. Math is still created, and you have the problem of the observer and the observed. So it gets fumbled up with how you do experiments. Look at how Plato thought. Look at how Descartes thought. And, didn't start arguing like
Didn't
like
I? But
Richard
didn't I
Dawkins and
address that when I said that math was just a model of reality that could stand further refinement?
But you did it with a little side part, like it's like you kind of got your way out of it from me, but you were still over there with it. It was like you were hugging bullshit, and I was sitting there, and you were like, yeah, well, this. And I was like, you son of a bitch.
Okay.
I saw you do it. You do that shit all the fucking time, and I'm like, and you're sitting there with a grin because you could pull off 100 different. Because you have a great mind to connect with people, even bullshitters, so you can spread the crowd. You're a showman, and you admit it too. But I was sitting there, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm gonna cut his ear off.
Okay, so what specifically is the critique?
Oh, I mean, you know how I feel about various systems. Human beings are as you know,
Okay,
I said it.
what specifically was our error in discussing it? Is what I want to know.
Well, it just came up at, you know, like what you were just talking about, and you got into like, you know, and these people, it's like Jaclyn was like, and these people come up to like Richard Dawkins, and they actually want to discuss him, and they don't understanding like you know what, I see people on a regular basis who are way fucking smarter than Richard Dawkins, and if anyone tries to communicate with him and his bullshit, I don't know of anybody. Look, Hitchens was extremely fallible, and he made fallacious arguments on a regular basis. He was smarter than that. He was just being an ass. Like, Richard Dawkins is really fucking stupid, and he won't admit it. Like, he is the most unsocratic of anyone. Like, Hitchens was like, you could take on Hitchens, and he almost wanted to get owned. He really did. He liked to be owned, but he did go for picking on mental midgets where he didn't get owned, which is kind of stupid. But I know people who knew Hitchens, and he really liked getting owned. But it was almost kind of a getting off when someone would finally fuck you. He's like, please, like, you know, take me on. And he was a total gadfly. I mean, you are that way. I mean, when we have discussions and we go at it, you like it when I like being owned myself, and you do too. So, because you can learn from it. It's beneficial. But some of these people don't. And we've discussed Dawkins before with his attitudes for various things with science, as E.O. Wilson has, like, whipped him up and down the floor. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with your criticisms of Richard Dawkins, but I'm still just kind of struggling with what specifically we said or did that you take issue with. Like, is it just like a generalized sense of how we're all agreeing with each other? We should be more contentious. I mean,
I think you should be really more critical of, like, when you look at us and them. This is a continual thing I've criticized you on. It's so easy to get into that mentality of looking at people as other and dehumanizing them, which is part of the human nature and human condition, and especially when one sense gets into social networking with all these droves of people. It's easy to dehumanize them. Like, I don't see most people as thinking, and I could say that they're dumb, but I don't really even think they're thinking. I've already explained how I see people, that there are a lot of people who are really on a generalized autopilot program with their emotions run, like the somatic marker theory by Antonio Damasio, which, by the way, I gave you the book on and told you to read it for like the last 5 years. And even though there's some updates to that theory I'm not going to go into, I do promote reading in the neurosciences so people in neurophilosophy
Galen, I want to ask
understand
you,
themselves, because you don't understand.
Someone in the comments section said something I want you to react to. Someone said, this is Rufus Taboofus.
Yeah, it sounds really stupid, too.
Galen is so individualistic, it might be detrimental. He thinks that if a group of people agree on something, they're automatically a hive mind. How do you react to that?
Well, how would I react to this? Well, let's look at the voting public. Let me name how everyone is so educated. Humanity doesn't know its environment. It doesn't know itself. Okay, Socrates, know thyself. Confucius, Sun Tzu, know thyself. Because that's the first thing you have to do to operate as like an art really of living and sustainability. It's not the art of war. It's like a war against adversity. And then the second is know your environment. And then really the third is not just know your enemy, but it's really know your purpose and what your objective is, so you can work and live effectively. Anyone who doesn't know if you know one, you're at least beneficial to where you can work in life. Humanity is a group species, and we have our little tribal minds. We don't know any of those very well. When we war, even with the people who do think in terms of epistemology, don't even understand epistemology, like Richard Dawkins, and they're talking about science, but then they look at groups of people without using science, and then they reject philosophy. It's silliness. Like, humanity is so destructive toward itself. And then people want to say, well, you're just so individualistic. Well, there are people who are non-thinking and thinking, and that's why it would be nice if people on a very group level were able to reach that intelligence. I would love to see that happen, but right now we're not. We're not cognitively developing people so that they can work together and humanity can evolve more. So I would say let's look at everything. It's not I'm just going to say this is that. We live in an I know culture. I'm trying to live myself in a learning for understanding way. So I'm rejecting my language game. Atheists are just like living in the language games, and then they're rejecting like a deity, and then a lot of them are still living in all the dogma, the tribal mind, and all that bullshit. So if you call me individualistic, fine, I accept it. But at least I'm a fallibilist and not an atheist. So fuck you.
What is a fallibilist?
Again, I would consider myself to be fallible to the systems. I do bring it to it on an individualistic level. It's very much what things that we've talked about before. I could send you stuff on it, but it goes back with my understanding. There's different philosophers and scientists who get into this, so I'd have to go into it with more detail with you at some point. But it's just fallibilism is that it's not. There's a problem with skepticism. It's a lot to go into, but it's very put in what's it called on being certain. I think it is. It's Wittgenstein's last book when he had cancer that he wrote. That's probably one of the best ones that are attack on skepticism and are more toward a fallibilist sense, but not the absolutist way of thinking, which we see so plaguing people which is really the fundamentalist sense, but so do people use the same way of thinking with language and thought and culture in.
I think the audience is very confused at this point.
They should be, because they don't know, they don't learn anything. Most people don't learn anything. They're confused. They don't understand philosophy. They've never researched all the sciences. And then they go and they find a fucking video on the internet and they're like, yeah, fuck God. Yeah, that's fucking right. Yeah, fuck God. And it's like, and then the next thing they know, they're like, and somebody says something totally different. Wait a minute, it's not a false dichotomy? Yeah, fuck you, man. It's either this or that. It's black and white. Yeah, well, yeah, right. Yeah, go fuck yourselves. All of you in the audience. You could kiss my fucking ass.
But I thought we were kind of getting into that same shit when we were talking about agnosticism, because we were saying we were talking about how we take an agnostic approach to everything. I mean, that seems pretty in line with what you're saying to me. Well,
I mean, there's a tint to agnosticism, but people go to certain definitions and they don't open it up philosophically. It's such a limited way that we even discuss these things, and then we were like, oh, skepticism, either you're not skeptical or this. They don't open it up, and many people for centuries and even thousands of years in different cultures have discussed this and come up with brilliant understandings to these problems that have plagued humanity. And then we have such cultural bias that we'll be like, no, just screw them. Like, we've been and we looked at various philosophers from India, and they don't believe, they reject all of any kind of religious thought or anything, but they'll put them in the religion. I mean, we have such cultural bias that we don't even look at other authors from other cultures, even when they're in science. I've seen Ramachandran, Krishnamurti, all go in Hindu sections. That's ridiculous. We are different cultures we're playing the tribal games, even when we don't think we are, and no one says anything about it. Like, look at Martha Nussbaum. I mean, and then everyone is just so misguided because the language games of the Western cultures, the Occidental, has been collapsing because it's changing so much. The language game and the internet has been just, and then before that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like the mass, the ability of common people to communicate their ideas so quickly amongst each other has kind of thrown a monkey wrench into a lot of traditional belief structures. I mean, I think that's pretty apparent. I mean, do you think, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like on some level you're trying to negate that, but I don't think it's negatable. And I also don't think it's possible to totally transcend the us versus them mentality, because I mean, even you kind of have this mentality of like, well, it's either the people who no longer recognize us versus them, or it's the people who do recognize us versus them. And I mean, that's an us versus them dichotomy right there. I mean,
I would disagree
I just think
with you.
I think it's like
I can accept my own ignorance, which was a lot of people don't do, because I said we live in an I know culture. I mean,
right. I mean, people have the I just want to say that I agree with you on that, because I think that we live in a culture where we have this false sense of certainty about things. That's why I was encouraging people to be agnostic, not just about God, but every assumption. Test everything, question everything around you at all times. You know, well, you shouldn't just dismiss any possibility.
Well, one thing that I saw someone post recently, there was article on some when I got onto Facebook, which I hate doing. I can't stand Facebook, as you know. You just see all the litter and trash of people just mindlessly just sitting there for hours at their keyboard doing nothing, wasting away. But one of them was saying it's the death of religion, the internet, and it's great communication. And like all language was universal in meaning. Mm-hmm. And I pointed out, it was like, oh, so their language games don't exist. There's no cultural context to meaning in language theory. And then everyone was just like at arms with me over this. And I even got blocked by people telling me to go fuck myself because I must be defending, like, I don't know, violence or abuse in religion. I mean, they were retarded as usual with, you know, the atheist response that not, you know, you. I mean, I always have had intelligence conversation with you and Scotty and other people, some people I know, but it was very hostile. And I said, so what are you going to do? You're just going to just get rid of all language games and just have this one? How are you going to keep that in place with some kind of Hobbes theory of like a state government and say, think this way? I mean, look at how people are already thinking this way with their ideologies, and how they're saying, let's get rid of. Let me ask you
a question related to that, because I kind of see what you're saying there, and my thing has always been, I always wonder how do we actually solve that problem, because it seems like either you have the serious conformity enforcement like you're talking about, the Hobbesian Leviathan that tells people what to think and how to behave, or you have a society that's so individualized and self-serving that it basically becomes that the other phenomena we talked about, which is our I God principle, where everyone basically worships their own ego.
Well, and I mean, we're in between those two now.
I know, but what is a destination that transcends either of those two options? Because that's what I don't see.
Well, I'll tell you two possibilities. One, it keeps going, and it's called loss of sustainability, because human beings can't play the art of sustainability, which is what Sun Tzu is pointing out, and humanity is on that course. I mean, like I said, over half of all life of biodiversity on Earth will die. It'll kill the economies and everything. I mean, that's in the next 200 years. That's absolutely going to dominate, and there will be mass starvation. Not even with genetic engineering and food growth could we actually do anything about it. We're destroying it all now. This is it. We're here. We're going off the cliff now, not later. And it pretty much is already going to happen. But humanity needs to cognitively develop, as I've argued with you before. You need to have more brains that are not just on autopilot with their emotional nervous systems that guide them, but actually start having higher reasoning so they can think better. We have possibilities to grow the garden better instead of just shitting in it and fucking it with weeds. And that's what we're doing now. Our best commodities ourselves, we don't even take proper care of. We're a bunch of, I would say pigs raise themselves better than us. A lot of species do.
I mean, I actually agree with you. I mean, it's like I think probably the thing that most people could relate to that's kind of in the same vein is the speech that Agent Smith makes in The Matrix about how every species, forms an equilibrium with their environment, but human beings seem to be incapable of doing that.
Right.
And I agree that it's definitely an issue. We're actually going to take a break right now. I thank you for coming on. I got
one more thing. I just want to say I'm gonna do what you asked, which is I'm writing up a full analysis of Game of Thrones for all the dumbass Game of Thrones fans who've read over 5,000 pages and haven't figured out a fucking clue what it's about yet.
Okay.
Because they're all dumb.
I really appreciate you. You know, it's kind of funny because I told Galen, you know, you gotta watch Game of Thrones. You gotta check out Game of Thrones. And then he did, and now he's fucking. You know, I've only the only thing I've seen is I've seen 2 seasons of the show. I haven't read the books or anything else. But now Galen has like totally surpassed me, and he keeps trying to have these conversations with me about his theory. Yes,
I'm not opposed to watching it, but honestly, I've never once watched it.
Yeah,
I just never got around to watching it.
It's a good show, but I look forward to that, Galen. I really do.
I will explain the cold hands theory eventually. He's the ultimate villain. Joffrey is a little pipsqueak compared to him. He makes Sauron look like a baby.
All right, Galen. We're going to take a break now. Always appreciate having Galen on the show to espouse his opinions because, you know, I mean, and I like to see the chat room divided on whether or not he's an intellectual genius making cogent points that are just brilliant or whether he's an idiot that's just incoherently rambling. I know Galen well enough to believe that he's a very intelligent person with some really compelling ideas, but sometimes I think the way he explains them can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I think he tells it like it is, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, Galen definitely does not hold anything back. He's going to give you his honest
I think that rubs some people the wrong way.
Of the time. Okay, so we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to take some calls from the audience. We already have a bunch of calls in, but if you want to send in your question, we're Drunken Peasants on Skype. We're going to take a small break, and we will be right back, and we'll be taking questions from our audience, and it'll be
Before we go on the
awesome.
break, I want to make one announcement. Today, we surpassed 8,000 subscribers. So that's pretty cool. If you're not already subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Hit the like button. We don't even need to ask people to comment because they're commenting like crazy right now.
Awesome.
All right. We'll be right back. Send in your questions, Drunken Peasants on Skype.
listening to Kid Man the Wi-Fi runs Thunder from this up.
Da 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 da.
All right.
Alrighty then.
All right.
Why did I say that?
You're invoking Jim Carrey.
I checked the questions, and they're pretty much all okay. So we could just go through them in order if you want. Or you could just pick out the ones you like. But everything seemed pretty decent.
Okay. So we'll just go down the list?
Sure.
All right.
Steven, we're calling Steven. Answer, Steven. You're going to break my heart if you don't answer. Boom, boom. Steven. Steven.
How's it going?
Hey. What are you doing? Sounds like you're moving furniture.
Actually, I was moving my keyboard.
Okay.
So my question was, what is the dumbest thing that someone has ever tried to physically harm you over?
The dumbest thing someone's tried to physically harm me over? Define tried. Like, you mean like if they came close to doing that, or like if they actually tried to do it?
I guess sort of just threatened, like
they became
I don't know.
Violence became a factor, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably the stupidest thing anyone probably when I was doing that broadcast with I don't know if anyone remembers the infamous 666 broadcast. I was doing some fundraising, and I had Fake Sagan, who was a big YouTuber at the time. Not big, but I mean a reasonably sized YouTuber at the time, who was a friend of mine, who was at the show, and he basically got drunk and started waving his gun around and shit, and he cut his own hand open on camera, and the show was shut down for that reason. And basically I'm like, well, that's okay, Case. I'll just say a crazy dude, you know, a crazy drunk guy fucking took over the show. And he's like, why would you say that? Why would you say that about me?
Wait, what was it you said to him?
I basically just said, well, he said, like, I can't believe Blog TV kicked us out. And I was like, well, I'll just tell him a crazy drunk dude took over the show. And he's like, why would you say that? Well, actually, it's more like, why would you say that? I'm gonna fucking... Are you... And then somehow he ended up holding a gun to my head. And it had some hollow point ammunition in it. So basically, if he'd pulled the trigger, my head would have just exploded.
Wow.
And he was like, are you scared now? I'm like, yeah. I mean, who fucking wouldn't be, unless I was just like the most suicidal person on earth. But, yeah, that was probably the stupidest thing anyone's ever tried to commit violence over me for like a harmless remark. But, I mean, when you're dealing with someone as unstable as that fucking weirdo, I don't know.
Nice. Hey, before you let me go, since I have my piano on my lap, I will, can I play you some music?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to play the X-Files theme, though.
I don't know what that is.
All right, then fuck off.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. All right, let's see. You have to play the X-Files theme.
I would have let him play something of his choice, but I don't like when he doesn't take requests. That makes me sad.
He didn't even know what the X-Files was, so...
Well, then fuck him. He needs to get better taste in TV shows.
It's kind of an obscure theme to, like, know how to play.
Not really. Da 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 dun 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 dun.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. Play me the X-Files theme.
If you want me to find it on you, I gotta find it on YouTube.
No. I mean, play it with an instrument right now.
I've got a piano, but I don't know how to play that one on piano. I'd have to get this.
All right. Stop. That's not even right. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself, and you're fucking making me lose my faith in humanity. What's your question?
What scientific milestone would you like to see humanity reach within your lifetime?
I mean, like, does it have to be extremely realistic or what?
I mean, anything. Yeah, I mean, ideally, something.
Something that I think is plausibly could plausibly happen in my lifetime. Well, I would say like fully immersive virtual reality environments like the Matrix would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might happen in my lifetime. Probably the other thing would just be, this probably will not happen in my lifetime. This is very unlikely to happen in my lifetime. But if we discovered some way to travel faster than the speed of light, that would be awesome.
We don't even know if we even if we figured that out. We don't even know if
we
we
don't
would
even
survive something like that.
Right. We don't even know if that. We don't even know if it's even fucking really possible. But
Yeah, that's more relegated to the realms of science fiction at this point. But I'd like to see a working fusion reactor. But they say that's about. They keep saying like 20 years.
Like cold fusion.
Well, just fusion in general. So like a nuclear reactor that works on the principle that the sun works on, where you got deuterium nuclei fusing into helium and releasing energy like that, and be able to like sustain that reaction artificially.
I don't know much about nuclear technology on that front. So how do our current reactors work?
The current reactors work on a principle called fission.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand fission and fusion, but I thought that
The difference between the fission and fusion is you've got fission, the nuclei, decaying into lighter elements, as opposed to fusion, where you've got lighter elements actually
bonding,
so heated that they actually combine together and form heavier elements. And like Einstein's E equals MC squared, like the change in mass actually gets converted directly into energy. So it's what happens. It's what makes the sun burn. Basically, the sun is a giant.
But to get back to your question, I would say that my three things would be my two realistic possible things that might happen would be virtual reality environments and the beginnings of what will ultimately, I think, be a big transhumanist movement where people start to customize and upgrade their bodies to a much greater extent than we've seen thus far.
Yeah.
And then my probably unrealistic thing would be faster than light travel, either by bending space or finding some unknown principle, maybe figuring out some way to keep wormholes open without the feedback problems or something.
I always thought that the transporter technology from Star Trek is probably my unrealistic technology. That would be awesome. So you could travel from one place to another in the blink of an eye without having to worry about travel time or jet lag.
But then you wake up half fly, so.
Yeah.
Also, the only other thing I could think of that is for me pretty realistic would be like first contact. I mean, that could happen, but that's bordering on kind of unrealistic.
What would your very unrealistic thing be? Or your very not likely to happen, but still within the realm of possibility?
Traveling to another star system within my lifetime. That's probably just
so pretty much that's pretty much the same thing as mine.
Yes. So yeah. I mean, it could be. It would never happen within your lifetime if you didn't have faster than light travel. It's just too.
Because I think the nearest system is like what.
If you got a space going the fastest we've ever got any satellite or anything moving, to get to the nearest to like Proxima Centauri would take like 77,000 years.
Right. So.
It's completely ridiculous. Yeah.
So if an alien race made first contact with us, do you think they should give us all their advanced technology right away, or like give it to us slowly over time?
If an alien race was going to contact us, I think they would give us some information, but I don't think they'd. I have a feeling that they probably wouldn't be there for peaceful reasons. They'd probably be there to conquer our planet and take our resources. And people always
really. I don't think that's likely, personally. I just don't think our planet has any abundance of any particular resource that they couldn't find elsewhere in an unpopulated world. I mean, plus I would think that any species that mastered interstellar travel would have evolved beyond those competitive urges and would have to have moved towards something more of a cooperative culture. But I could be totally fucking wrong.
Yeah, you're just thinking Star Trek.
Well, I mean, like, I don't. Well, actually, in Star Trek, the fucking races are constantly at each other's fucking throats. But,
Some of them, yeah.
But you know, but my thing is just like I don't see how a species could reach that. Like, I think humanity is most likely going to destroy itself before it ever reaches that point. So I don't think a species that does reach that point could be plagued by the same problems that we are, which is that imperialistic sort of urge to dominate and conquer other life and, you know, other civilizations and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I always thought though that if they were going to invade Earth and basically try to engage us in some conflict, it wouldn't even be like a physical conflict. They would probably put in some sort of biological agent that just killed everyone on the planet in like 72 hours. There wouldn't even, if they're that advanced to come to us from another star system, they don't even need to.
But that's not a very interesting movie. Michael Bay can't work too many explosions.
Yeah, I think I like Guerilla 199's idea better.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for having you on. You've been a terrific caller. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Okay. TJ. Sing the Aladdin song again. People seem to like that.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide?
Okay. Wow. I can't even say I know any of that.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, Lucas.
Hi. I was on last night, yeah.
No, you weren't. You're a
No,
liar.
you weren't, liar.
Liar, Lucas. Boo.
Boo.
Boo,
Liar.
Lucas. Boo.
Run for mayor someplace else.
Right.
Right.
I'm not a politician. I'm just a
When you
kid.
said right, you were saying correct or what?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go on.
You're clearly overwhelmed. Answer the question.
Yeah,
Ask your
I've-
question.
Okay. So I have this idea for this mobile app game. I want to see if you guys think this is funny, because this is more of a joke delivery sort of game, sort of like Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
So it's
worst
like a
idea.
mobile-
Worst idea I've ever heard so far. Just putting that out.
Okay, well,
No, I'm just.
it
okay,
features
go ahead.
it features Chris Brown, and you know Chris Brown. I don't think you know this because
Is this gonna be like a thing where he like punches Rihanna or something? Because I don't know.
Well, he got in. He's in jail now for violating his probation or something. I'm not really sure, but
Someone in the chat. I just want you to know, Lucas, that someone in the chat room said "fuck Lucas."
Yeah, but that happens. People
Yeah.
just say fuck whoever's on. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
that's-
Go on.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, he's your phone is in landscape mode, and he's on the left side of the screen, and he's got like this ragdoll arm that's just kind of hanging there. And when you touch the screen, the arm throws itself up wherever you touch the screen at. So you've got these objects flying at Chris Brown that are essentially women's faces, and Rihanna's in there, and you're supposed to stay alive as long as you can. You think that's funny?
I spaced out, so probably not.
He's spaced out. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sounds like some people would find it mildly amusing.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know. I don't know if
it's
that's
like
worth
every
putting
game-
developmental effort into, but you know, I mean, hey,
Maybe you could do it right.
Keep.
What
I mean, like,
inspires
look,
you
I
to make
it's
every single-
I just want to say it's really impossible sometimes to tell what's going to be funny before you do it. I mean, like, there's things you think are going to be hilarious that just don't work, and there's things that I've heard people say like, "I'm going to do this." I'm like, "That's not going to be funny," and then they do it, and it's fucking hilarious. So, like, look,
Right.
really searching for people's opinions on humor is not going to work. You just have to, if you think something's funny, just go ahead and do it, and if it fucking is amusing to people, then they'll buy it and play it and, you know, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still think it's a dumb idea.
Let's see.
Get her on. Just so we need a female voice.
All right.
Just for the sake of femininity.
Femininity.
The Drunken Feminist Podcast.
That was our first name. We threw that around for a little while.
How about the Drunken Feminists?
Yeah.
Ben was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So, my question.
So wait, before you
First-
talk, I need to know something. Are you a Freemason or are you a terror?
I don't know. I don't know.
That was a long
I'm not part of
pause.
20%, I guess.
Are you? You're not part of the 20%.
Well-
So you're saying you're human,
Well,
right?
are you?
Why do you have a
Yeah, I
circle?
guess
Why do you have a
so.
circle as your icon if you're not a Freemason or a terror?
Well, it's a band
No.
logo.
Yeah. So you listen to Freemason. You just listen
Yeah,
to
that
Freemason terror
band
music.
is made up of tears and Freemasons.
You better watch out.
No, it's the Nick's band.
Your band should be banned. What's your question? Tear sympathizer, tear apologist,
Well, then.
terrorist.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I have something in the background. I need to turn it off. All right. Well, so my question was about well, it was more of like a discussion topic.
Okay.
What if I actually was indoctrinated by Disney? Ooh, being a lesbian and all.
What if you actually were indoctrinated by Disney?
Yeah, because she's a lesbian.
The carpet got me.
They got her. They hooked her while she was young watching Disney
Yeah.
movies.
Well, I mean, like
Satan did it.
I mean, like, if any little girl who's watching a Disney movie and is just like, this cartoon has convinced me to be a lesbian.
Yeah.
Like, that girl was already going to be a lesbian anyway. So, you know, I don't think anyone's making that leap. I just don't. I'm sorry. It's like if it were demonstrated to be true. If it were demonstrated to be true, I'd just be like, you know what? That seems like pretty effective population control. So, like, do we really need more kids? No, we need more lesbians. I think.
Well, thank you. I guess
not that lesbians can't have kids, but they shouldn't because why? Why would you want a fucking kid? It boggles my mind. Anyway,
maybe what I would. I don't know. I have no clue. That's a later problem. Anyway.
Don't have kids. See you later. French. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for being on, Francesca.
Let's take a couple more and we'll just go ahead and call it a quits. Actually, we'll just call it quits whenever Holly shows up to pick me up.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Bitch, I'm gonna lick your pussy. Da 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 da. Just pick one.
Okay, whatever.
I don't think this guy's going to answer.
Okay.
Jesus. Smoke pan every day.
I think someone's already asked us that question.
No one's ever asked us anything. TJ gets pussy?
What?
Someone asked that. TJ gets pussy?
Like
No.
as a question?
Yeah. They're like they're surprised or something. TJ gets pussy.
Okay.
Anyone with confidence can get pussy regardless of how flawed you feel they are as a human being.
Yeah.
Oi.
Oi.
Oi. How's it going?
It's not going. It's
Okay, you
It's
like-
totally stalled out. It's up to you to save the show. Go.
Okay, do you like my profile picture?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't even see it really.
Oh, okay. So I could ask a better question, or I could just ask the question that I sent in the text.
How about you play me the fucking X-Files theme?
Okay. How so?
I don't know. Just do that. Just dun 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 dun.
You guys should do it together.
Dun, 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 dun,
Why the fuck are we doing this?
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah,
Go on with your
that's the
question.
purpose.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with TJ and the X-Files theme. He just really wants it.
I just want it.
All
I
right,
want it.
so-
I want it like
If
a
I-
crackhead want crack.
So if I ask the question that I put in the chat, if Galen is hearing this, he's probably going to hate me because it's probably anything.
We can get him on if you want.
Yeah. Do you want to talk to him?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get Galen on. You can ask your question directly to him.
Oh God.
He's
If
gonna
on-
hate me.
Just see. Well, he might not be online right now, but we'll try to get him on. Let's just give it a shot.
Anyway, go ahead and say what you want to say.
Yeah,
and
go ahead and ask us because it might be difficult to talk over him.
All right. Is a cognitive scientist such as Steven Pinker with a PhD in that field as valid as someone who is a physicist or someone in one of those hard sciences? Because the hard sciences, of course, they bleed into every other peripheral science. Aren't they more qualified than, say, a neuroscientist?
Okay. I can already pretty much tell you Galen's answer to that.
What?
Well, Galen is, like, obsessed with neuroscience, so...
Yeah.
He's probably going to say that the neuroscientist is the more valid scientist, if anything.
Is it because he's more passionate and...
No, like, he'll get...
niche,
No,
or-
I guarantee you he'll elucidate a fucking reason why, why he thinks they're demonstrably, like, better and should be of higher social standing or whatever.
Yeah. I've actually read pretty extensively on neuroscience. Probably not the same books. He seems to be more into the cognitive psychology.
Yes.
I like more so of neuroanatomy. So I read people like Richard Restak, who is a psychiatrist. And I've read National Geographic textbook on it. I've read Diving Bell and the Butterfly, which is not really neuroscience, but I mean it's about a guy who was not in a coma but locked in syndrome. So yeah,
Explain to us what that is.
locked in syndrome.
I'm
someone
curious.
would be much more qualified than I to explain.
I don't care who's most qualified. You're what you got, so...
I don't...
Well, I'm just going to pull up the Wikipedia definition so no one crucifies me. For short, is a condition in which a patient is aware and awake but cannot move or communicate verbally due to complete paralysis of nearly all voluntary muscles.
All right, I want to get Galen in on this, so let's just add him on.
Much like Howard Bloom, actually, right?
What's that?
Much like Howard Bloom, right?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying because I was trying to get Galen on the line. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I was just having you talk so I could do other things. I was just kind of using you as a prop. I apologize for my insensitivity.
I'm not looking at the chat. What do they think of me right now?
They love you, dude. They're chanting
Oh.
your name. Like, Cameron. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You're the most They're actually all just pissed that Galen's coming back.
Yeah.
Hello?
Galen, all right, we have a neuroscience question for you from a kid named Cameron here. Well, I don't want to say kid actually.
Okay, it's not a Song of Fire and Ice question.
I'm
'cause
sorry. I know you wish it was, but it's not. It's a neuroscience
If
question.
it ain't, look, if it's not a Song of Fire and Ice, I don't even know why it matters.
Okay, I can see that, especially when the world is doomed anyway.
Can I at least give you one thing to blow your mind about a Song of Fire and Ice?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if this guy Cameron is
blow us,
interested in a Song of
Galen's.
Fire and Ice.
He's good. He loves it. It's his favorite thing.
I'm not sure about this. This is one of my wild off theories for the whole thing. Is that that Peter Baelish Littlefinger is controlled by Cold Hands Littlefinger, and he got John Aaron killed, is manipulating Liesel, and he's like the Faust-like character who made a deal with the devil. And where Rhaegar Targaryen is still alive, where he has a double face with Mance Rayder, that's Jon Snow's real father, so does and Cold Hands, and his son is Roose Bolton. So he engineered the whole thing to go get the Starks from Winterfell to destroy the Starks. It was Baelish who's made a deal with the devil with cold hands, and that's to manipulate the king, and that's how the whole book of Game of Thrones, and it was breaking down Ned.
All right. Well, that concludes Galen's predictions and analysis of Game of Thrones, a song of. A lot of people in the comments are saying it's ice and fire, not fire and ice. So you're getting corrected, hardcore, Galen.
Well,
but on nothing, on nothing substantial, though. I mean, just like you said the title kind of wrong, even though fire and ice is like a common saying, and anyone could do that. But anyway, Cameron, go ahead and let loose your neuroscientific shit to Galen and see how he reacts to it.
Neuroscience or neurophilosophical? That's even better.
Well, that's actually a good point. But it basically, in a hazelnut shell, is a neuroscientist with a PhD in that field more qualified to speak on it than someone who's a physicist or a chemist or someone of a more central hard science.
What is the question on someone would be qualified to speak on what?
More qualified, well, that's actually a good point. Well, to talk on neuroscience itself, because it's very multi-layered, very, very complex subject, since the brain and mind is very, very complicated. But to calculate to its very
who would be better to talk about these subjects?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking? Okay. Well, they're different neurosciences, first of all, but there are a lot of things that people have thought for a long time in philosophy that are coming together. That's why, Patricia Churchill is into philosophy, and she's into neuroscience, and she's worked with Rodolfo Linus and Eric Kandel, Nobel Prize winning neuroscientist and neurologist. So you have people in neurology, you have people in all these fields coming together, it's not just you're going to pick one. You have various different systems that people are specialized in from different fields, but philosophy is also chiming in, and people look to, of course, things like great philosophers like Wittgenstein, who says so much about all of this. And you look at social cognition, and then you look at like mirror neurons, and you have like this shared manifold theory, which that gets into social cognition. So you're looking back at Wittgenstein, how we look at artificial intelligence too, which it has what constitutes consciousness. So, and you get into Hillary Putnam with that the brains in the vat. That's kind of like the Matrix, but postmodernism does a little of that with that Baudrillard. That's what the Matrix is based on him. Even though that really gets away from a lot of the great parts of science, but there's a lot of great things with philosophy to answer this. But I think there's a melding of coming together, where it's like Eric Kandel, the neuroscientist, says, a new science of the mind, not just this one little field. They need to have the fields, even the arts, come back together, where we're all sharing in what are all these human cultures, and to explore human nature with science, philosophy, and even bringing the artist in on this, we can reflect upon with our aesthetics to see it all, to understand human nature, and we need that. And right now, when you have someone who has a mental problem and they go to a hospital, you have someone who has different fields of psychiatry that says, oh, just medicate them. And then they're like, what about a therapy? And then the therapist, there's different theories with therapy on how to treat people. And so you have a person who is medically ill, and maybe of the mind in a neurological matter, maybe also having psychological problems too, and problems that have now taken a cognitive effect on them, where their brains are actually damaged from this, and they need medical help. I mean, people who are alcoholics are just like, don't drink.
They're Galen, damaged. Galen, I want to say, there's someone in the comments section that was just saying that when it comes to the mind, we basically need to stay with a hard sciences approach, and that philosophy has no place in developing a theory of the mind, basically.
Well, I would say that person is a fucking idiot, because no, really, I want to go really hard on this. You don't even when you straw man, there are a lot of philosophers who deal with ripping philosophy to shreds, and it's not like these logical positivists who have done that and then are so absolutist. This is almost like the foundations of a lot of like Richard Dawkins, where you want to take him to shreds. And even to some degree, even Neil deGrasse Tyson gets into this crap. And it is awful. Like the logical positivists have been shredded. And now the atheists are doing a lot of the same things, and these people are just science and get into some of the scientism. I mean, they take a very one-way look at things, and then they're using things in philosophy, but then they're kind of going away, and they're straw-manning logical fallacies. Well, you have to understand, getting into mathematics, philosophy of science, and all of this has been going on for a long time. It's like when you see Stephen Hawking talking about certain things in philosophy, and just like it's all the same. Like, that's just silly. You're going to take all the cultures and thousands of years of philosophies and try to understand that, and you're just going to strawman it all in a gross generalization. I mean, come on. If anyone who wants to do that, just go stick your head in a toilet, because that's where it already is. At least do yourself a pleasure if you really want to think that, and keep flushing the toilet and shitting in it, because you're already doing it. At least be honest about it.
I always
because you're not looking into anything. You're not looking.
I was kind of thinking of it. I was kind of thinking of it. I was kind of looking at the same paradigm that you're kind of describing there with the logical positivist position of like, oh, we understand, like you can, like basically this like worship of science. To the point of like, well, we're gonna.
It's like the Bible.
We're gonna discard this cultural traditions in the name of.
But I'm not paying the Mary's Room argument ever. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if anybody is in the audience to the Mary's Room argument, look, there's validity in the Mary's Room argument that there can be more knowledge. There are different types of knowledge. There is contextualism. Okay. There is contextualism, but
my question though,
there are flaws in man's being the observer with how they look at these systems.
My question to you is like, look, I mean, if we're going through a process now of like discarding cultural traditions and classical philosophy and all that stuff, I mean, if we're going through a process of discarding that, then I mean, like, what necessarily makes that a bad thing? Because like,
look.
I kind of just take, I think of it as almost like we have to have that approach in the future going forward, because we live in a culture that's so transient now. Like everything changes and redefines itself, and I think people almost need to have this sort of break away from their ties to the past. I mean, I'm not saying that we should discard everything, but I mean, certainly some ideas, it's time for them to die and go away.
Well, but it's not just ideas. How we look and have meaning within, and science and philosophy can work together, because you have to understand where you're almost like negating the problem that philosophy creates a lot of problems. I mean, Wittgenstein pointed that out. But he also, even when he was trying to solve philosophy, he wrote another book, and he even pointed out where he was wrong. So, but then again, the logical positivist, took his book as like the Bible, his first one, and then he was like the Messiah, and just like in the Grand Inquisitor in the Brothers Karamazov, the great book of literature by Fyodor Dostoevsky, Jesus comes back and he's like, "Hey, I'm here," and then they're like, "We don't need you," and the same thing happened with Wittgenstein. It's like, "Hey, this is not what I meant by that. You didn't get that." And then you see Christopher Hitchens and Dawkins all using like some kind of Wittgenstein quote, just like the logical positivists did. And of course, you try to tell them otherwise, and they don't listen, and they don't give a fuck. They've abandoned all understanding of admitting any kind of ignorance. It's just silliness anymore. It's just grandstanding and saying, "I know," and these people are stupid.
Hold on, Galen. You could be a little overwhelming, and I wanted to give Cameron a chance to maybe vent his thoughts a little bit here, since he hasn't spoken for quite some time.
Can I clarify one thing? One thing to
No,
Cameron.
hold on. Just hold on, Galen. Let me just get Cameron in on this for a second, because he's been quiet for a while.
Okay.
Cameron, did you have anything you wanted to say, maybe that in response to what Galen said, or maybe?
I agree, and I actually really love this discourse, because this has been rattling in my brain for so long. It's been torturing me. I haven't known where to go, so this is...
I want to add something real quick for Cameron.
Yeah.
What I was saying about when someone who is... Of course, I just want to say that person in the audience, you don't strawman philosophy first, but look at philosophy and sciences are working together. You need to have a building together. Look at Eric Kandel. Same with Cameron. Look at that. Look at Patricia Church and look at what's going on. Read Wittgenstein. Look at some great philosophers and how they've all really, you're classifying them and like labeling them this or that. And they're all really working toward this. So don't straw man these people. Like they're all these like, well, that's that group and he must be one of those. He's like with, like Descartes is, if you look in any book on the history of philosophy of science, Descartes is in there. And it can really be, you go back to Socrates and Socratic method. And there's so much in philosophy you can learn. But if you look, I would really recommend Eric Kandel's books. He gets into the arts. And like I said about patients who go to a psychiatric hospital or any type of hospital, you have all these doctors with different types of theories and medical science that are coming at you to help you. And the patient is fucked in mental health. It is so fucked in the world. And then we, of course, in culture, you know, especially in many different cultures, the people who are stereotyped. Anytime there's some kind of shooting, you see Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks, that stupid cunt, who comes out and it's just the first thing she says is like, oh, it was the crazy people, because, you know, crazy people just go act crazy and they murder and they're going to kill you. And, of course, she just starts attacking anyone who has any type of mental disability, which is horrible. From depression, you know, those people want to kill you. They're all psychotic. And I have ripped and got her to admit on Twitter and in messages, private messages, she's wrong for that, and she'll correct it, and she'll go right back doing it. You see it all over the media anytime there's something. And people,
you know, actually, Galen, I wanted to jump in there because I saw a pretty prominent example of that recently with the Adam Lanza's the shooter in the Sandy Hook shooting. Adam Lanza's father came forward and did this pretty comprehensive interview with the New Yorker, and it was a very interesting look into Adam Lanza and his mental condition in the years leading up to what ultimately culminated in an attack that killed 27 people, I think. Or
he didn't do it. By the way, he didn't do a very good job.
Right, but
I just want to say I would have killed. At least, if I want to ever do anything, I'm going to kill a lot more people, and I'm going to get away with it.
That's good, Galen.
That's reassuring.
I'm going to be a hero, but I'm not trying to hurt people. I'm trying to help them.
Okay.
I think Hitler was a smart guy, but he used it for manipulation and power. There's a lot of people who can use knowledge and do it bad. That guy was a mentally disabled person who.
But I mean, like the thing about it is though, like they had the New Yorker printed this very nuanced article that was, that formed a very complex narrative that, I thought was kind of like, if it was a kind of emotionally moving story to actually read it all out and kind of think about the circumstances of the lives of the people involved. But then when you see it filtered to all these, sensationalist news sites like the Huffington Post and the Drudge Report and the Fox News site, the only quotes they use are the quotes about, oh, well, Adam Lanza was evil. He was evil, and he fucking felt nothing for anyone, and he was a piece of shit. And it's like, that's just such a simplistic answer to a complex question.
Okay,
I was just reading that the other day.
Well, that really gets me. I told you, TJ, one of the last times we talked, maybe it was on here, that I had gone to this neuroscience seminar at Tulane University here in New Orleans, and I actually talked with the fellow. He's published a bunch of books, and he gets into law and neuroscience and philosophy, and looking at thought experiments and actual experiments with people, so we can have a better understanding of all this. And he dealt with stuff about people who were mentally ill and looking at situations. We even talked about that, but I really came up to him at the end. I didn't want to just trash the whole conversation that he was having. I was like, he did it in too simple of a way, but he actually agreed with me. He was like, yeah, I did, because they all want simple answers, and I'm approaching it really slowly. But I was like, and you even said, you were telling me when I was at that, because I was texting you, you said, breach it because we got to go further. And I was just like, well, I want to see what he has to say and talk to him at the end. And if I attend on one again, I'll crash it. But everyone wants simple answers, and the people who get stuck into thinking I'm just into this philosophy thing, and I'm just in the one of the neurosciences or something, and I only have to look at it in this one little way and not take any reject anything that was ever said in this thing, even though they have similarities.
Sorry, Galen, I'm sorry to cut you off, but there's not going to be a natural closure point anytime soon. We're going to be ending the show. Thanks, Cameron and Galen, for having participating in this interesting conversation. I agree with you. So we're going to go ahead and cut you guys off and do the show's outro here. Littlefinger. Gotcha. Yes. Game of Thrones, most important thing in the universe. Someone in the comment section said that if you ask Galen to tie his shoes, you'll hear his philosophical views of the universe. But there might be some truth to that. I'm sure that he would actually own up to that if you asked him, and he would justify it as well, and probably somewhat cogently. Anyway, we are going to be ending the show because my ride is here, and I think Ben is damn near suicidal.
No, I'm all right.
I'm just gonna fucking kill myself. No, Ben's not suicidal.
No, not at all.
He may be homicidal though. My ride is here.
That's
all I think of her as. It's just a ride, Holly.
Tomorrow we'll be on with Paul's Ego.
Yes, Paul's Ego will be on the show tomorrow, and that will be awesome, and you should definitely check that out, because even if you think we suck, Paul is awesome. So even if you hate us and think we're fucking just juvenile idiots with nothing of value to say, you should show up for Paul.
Yes.
Because Paul is like a god. He's a fucking god. I worship him.
All right.
Anyway, show's over.